I think it is Mark Hamill.
I'd like to point out.
Say hello, Internet.
Hello, Internet.
Hello, Internet.
No, it's Christopher Reed. Or no, but
Yeah, Mark
oh, yeah, Mark
Hamill.
Hamill.
Just need Richard Gere. That's what we talked about earlier. He's making the cameo.
Everything okay?
Maybe.
Okay.
Someone check the stream with a headphone because I'm seeing jumping dots.
Oh, yeah.
But when I click the mic, it grays out. So I don't know.
We already did the silent movie episode.
We've done several.
It'd be fun to do it again. Like we wore that gimmick out.
We just have to stand up in front of the screen and on everything.
Yeah. Well, we thought about that, but I think we're too lazy to do it.
Yeah.
Like, we thought about like just going back and like redubbing all the voices.
Cool, thank you.
Because that'd be glorious.
That also takes work.
None of us remember what happened during those times. And I think when we talked about it last, it was we're gonna redub it, and everybody was gonna redub somebody different.
Yeah.
We're not gonna be allowed
We're gonna
to
be our
dub
own
ourselves. Yeah.
Wow.
Which
Shadow of the Night, because you were saying you guys talking about Pennsylvania games, and they're all something of the night. And
Yeah.
Totally true.
what a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
That had happened at
I'm a Fortunato, and I don't know where my accent is from.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
out of
Maybe
character,
someone
do you even fucking know where my accent is from? Like, I don't even know.
John, you have the best history accent.
I meet people from Quebec, and it's like, none of these guys sound like me. Like, none of them.
No, I found a person on the internet that does actually sound like you from Quebec.
Awesome. Kindred spirit.
Yeah.
I thought the rule was that if you found somebody who had the same accent as you, since you're both from Quebec, that you had to go fight one-on-one. Whoever, like, Highlander style. So.
Yeah, at some point. Again, it's lazy Highlander. It's gonna happen at some point.
I mean, they're also Canadian, so.
It just happens to be in the same place. French Canadian cancels out the.
Yeah, basically, it's like there can be only one eventually.
I thought it was an aggressive snail mail chain.
Yeah, that's right. It's like strongly worded letters.
Wow.
You hoser.
I believe, I believe it's also an
How are
option to.
Hope you're well. That's right.
It's also an
Fuck
option
you,
to get to geese and have them fight to the death as your champions. So trial by combat thing.
Yeah,
Play
yeah.
hockey.
With Mallard.
Have the geese play hockey.
Yeah, it's a hockey duel. It's like
Have the geese play hockey.
You don't think they know how to play?
it's
They're
shootouts.
Canadian geese. They know how to play.
They're Canadian, so they have to.
Yes, required.
It's like when a gazelle knows how to walk within moments. Yeah,
That's
Canadian
right.
knows how to hold it.
That's the thing, right? Like that's how you know if they're really
Wait, wait.
Canadian geese. You ask them
Is
which
today Canada Day or is that tomorrow?
It's tomorrow.
Oh man, we
July
just gotta
7th.
wait till midnight. We'll have to play till midnight, and then we'll have to have you sing "Oh Canada."
Oh, tomorrow's Canada Day?
Yeah, it
It's
is.
July 1st is Canada Day.
Canada's birthday. Oh,
Oh.
Like every year, I'm gonna wear my red bacon socks.
he will evolve into a giant maple leaf.
Yeah. That's why I don't do shit on Canada Day because
I only know part of it.
It's really hard to drive when you have leaves.
Oh, no,
If we
absolutely.
make it till midnight, I'm gonna make them sing it in French.
You're gonna make us all really.
Is
Aroused.
there actually a
Oh yeah. There's a version in French. If you go watch
There has to be.
like hockey games,
Yeah.
they'll
Oh, yeah.
sing a couple verses in French and a couple in English.
And Quebec they usually celebrate the other one more eventually.
Yeah, well, it's
Well,
another it's another reason to get
Same.
drunk, so they'll celebrate those. Saint Jean Baptiste.
Yeah. Well, that
Because
was
Saint John the Baptist is Quebec's patron saint.
Wasn't that a couple days ago? That's what we
Yep,
doing?
June 24th.
Yeah.
So it's a rough
So
week.
then after that, they cross the border and get drunk with us. I mean, is that?
And you can keep that party going if you really want to.
I'm gonna find that dude. I'm gonna post it in Sneaky Centaurs and be like, all right, y'all, listen.
July
me I'm not wrong.
14th is Bastille Day.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Yeah, July is
When you
July
leave
is
yourself
a-
July is a
That's dude.
That's the difference. I'm really terrible at writing notes for when I run games. So
I never did. And then I started because I was like, oh, this helps me so much more.
Oh,
My
notes are always cryptic.
And then I'm like,
my strength minds have
I'm
like
like,
300
I wrote the
pages
sound. I
long.
don't know what it
I got the
means.
important stuff. I'm like, well, what about this? What
It
about
really
that?
is,
What
yeah.
about
yeah, you're right. With
other things I
Bastille
would
Day,
have thought
like,
of at that time?
could
you're
do
like,
it
oh
on a
no.
pretty solid
Yeah.
vendor.
It's happened to me twice now.
Canada
Vampire.
is the most polite of those holidays though, because it doesn't celebrate really like independence. It's like, hey, we sort of asked Britain if we could run our own shit. We asked politely and they
Like
said
we're still
yes.
part of the Commonwealth. And
Party.
tech-
America's
It's
like
all our
America's
money,
looking
but
at it like Canada, like, wait, you can ask?
Yeah,
Seriously? That's what
it's like, hey,
No, I think it was more like, only bitches ask.
Yeah. No, you just jump tea in their heart.
it's like, hey, bro, I asked mom and she said yes, so I guess we can.
We're still cool though. We just do our shit over here.
Yeah.
Whatever
Technically
wins.
speaking, she was
Do
trying
it
to
first,
say, but
that's
she
what
never
usually
bothered.
is.
Party members that were once married but
Right.
now are separated but still travel together for
Yeah.
convenience.
Yeah.
They
The
do it
Quebec-
first, and when they tell you you shouldn't have done that,
Yeah,
you
but
leave, you're
Quebec
far away
is
from
their
home.
own.
The Quebec one has more angst to it because they celebrate the failed Patriots Revolution.
Like the time we tried to not be part of Canada, lost.
Yeah, like it's the French Canadians.
Wonder
They're
Many.
like, fuck your shit. And
They
then
try to run away from home, but
they failed and got hung.
got picked up.
But yeah, so there's more angst, but now it's more like college kids in their first year that took philosophy classes that rage against the British oppression they never felt in their entire fucking life.
Good mood.
Wow.
Good mood.
And wear the Quebec flag as a cape.
Baby
That's the
tree, large factory.
Yeah.
That was an educational start to work.
Hey, my
Appreciate it.
character's from Canada. So
Yeah, it's
This is-
totally
this is-
common.
it's all in theme.
This is all backstory.
It's all pertinent information.
How
Actually,
actually
Abe was in the
which is in Canada.
Patriots
Which is on
Revolution.
Which is in Canada.
So,
Oh shit.
yeah.
Way to
Abe
bring
was
it
in the
back.
Patriots
Way-
Revolution. That's all in character.
So, so we have a weird, creepy family that's here
All the
right
time.
now.
Oh yeah, I need to roll my. What the fuck am I?
At the risk of redirecting my own game, when I played In Nomine, which is the angel
Yes.
groups,
Oh,
we had one guy whose human
Oh, I'm
whose
ready.
human representation was Islamic or Hasidic. He was hardline, one of the more classic Christian religions, or sorry, monotheistic true God situations. And it was either every game night he'd be like, this evening's fact was either Hebrew facts or Islam facts. I think Hebrew facts.
I was like, those are very different.
Yeah, they're.
But no, he would always come in with a fact that was religious / cultural to his character.
Neat.
And I was like,
Nice.
damn it, I'm already in college. I don't need this extra shit. I'm not here to learn. I'm like, I'm playing a rave kid angel. What? No, go away.
Well, I mean, yeah.
And now we just family like do and so their much magical candy. So
I will say though.
All right,
that
next vampire game. Everybody brings in a factoid about their character.
We'll never play.
playing fucking historic games like set in the real world like is the best fucking way to trick yourself into making papers. Because this is what
She goes.
yeah, see? You know.
I'm not even gonna bring in like historical stuff. I'm just gonna bring in like, did you know stuff
Also,
about the extremes of human like the resistance of like intolerance and stuff.
the human anus is nightmarish for elastic.
Go on.
No, live in America.
Oh yeah, last night was
Oh god.
D&D brought to you by Blood Stuff.
And
Oh my god.
Nice. Yeah.
don't forget Diaper King.
Yes.
What?
Not diaper play. He I don't think he actually knew that was a thing because he kept calling it diaper king.
What kind of D&D game do you guys play?
With
Then
a
why we're gonna play her,
15-year-old
baby?
little
Oh, okay.
girl.
That's sort of half wholesome.
Well, it's just neat. So
If
And
that
then
had
one
said,
she
I just
looked
have
up and went, I have a weird uncle. And I'm like, honey, you don't have weird uncle.
I just have a very pointed, nerd satire in mind.
that was not confirmed for you, Tony, we do have silent review.
oh yeah, good.
Cool.
I want everyone to know about Diaper King. It was a hard night.
For 2 viewers,
It was a hard
if you
night
can
to be a
make that
paladin.
if you can make that hashtag trend, all 2 of you.
Come on, help us out.
We'll know it started here.
Now it's hashtag sneaky Diaper King because it has to come back to us. Yeah.
And the poor 15-year-old was like, so it all just comes back to butt stuff? And we were like, no, child.
All this time has been butt stuff.
And
Yeah.
the butt stuff was the diaper king we were down inside us all along.
That's right. That's right. Look inside and find the diaper king that's inside all of us.
Wow.
It's a real diaper king for the friends we made along the
That's where it was.
We're only using half
I know.
Yep.
You can hope.
We need to roll initiative, right? I need D20s for that.
Who knows with this group?
It changes every second.
Right, with initiative like that wouldn't be par for the course.
I love
It's
how
like
we
it's 2d4
have like
and
3 or 4 different types of initiative in our heads.
Yep.
It's true. Well, 7th seed, to
Or
be fair,
more.
it doesn't really have it. We just roll things.
Your wall is your initiative, which
it's
is different.
2d4. You add your generation dots, but then you subtract your resources because your pockets are full of coins.
Money
Damn
bags.
it.
Wait, is it strength or dex?
Oh yeah, my bad. We actually have like 10 different initiative ways in our brain, but only like 4 of them are actually real.
The other ones are satire.
Some of them-
made
some of
up
them are
because
just
we
made
keep
up.
forgetting how to roll initiative.
Some of them have stats from other games.
The city court. And yes, in walks an older
I
man.
remember.
An older man. What does he look like?
Nope, don't remember that. I just remember.
Oh, no one cut you up?
No, like we did.
We
But I was like,
none of us wrote down what these
Yeah,
people
because it was
looked
last minute. We were like,
Yeah, I know,
fuck
but
away, those were-
but like my brain was like, I don't remember this. We stood outside and there was like blood, and then the ghost came, and then there was the
Yeah,
talking
'cause that was-
fucking doll,
that
and
was a
then
fantastic climax
and
to
then-
my heart-wrenching tale.
Yep.
yeah, and then the lady was like, "You didn't have to tip us. You played pretty music," and I'm like, "Cool, that was the end."
Because
this
no,
is
the end
quite
was actually
the game.
7 months later, and I was like, ah, fuck. And then
I never did it.
I was like, here you can have XP, except clown car vampires.
See? I remember that piece, right?
Yeah, that quick.
So yes, the first gentleman who walks in behind Paul is an older gentleman with salt and pepper hair and a salt and pepper handlebar mustache. Dark complexion, but definitely European. And in behind him walks a young lady, or well, no, a lady slightly younger than him. Some lines around the creases on her face, but still holding herself in a very astute way. A step behind him, she rests her hand on his shoulder of his flannel shirt in a very familiar way, and in behind them steps in a line of younger individuals, varying from male to female, all with various traits of the 2 who came in first. So,
Gargoyles? I'm sorry.
no, gargoyles are ugly.
I know.
From Disney's Gargoyle.
I mean, I actually thought
Those
that.
all look
You
like
said they were
drums.
all blobs and globules.
Oh no, he was joking.
That was 20 minutes ago. Yeah, no. First two people, decently attractive. All the people behind them, same.
Yeah.
But obviously cut from the same cloth.
Let's see, what he meant was they each have features of them, as in like one has the nose and that's it.
Guess what? More Siamese? No.
I was gonna say, man, not everyone.
Wait, no, that's
No.
not. I don't want more Siamese.
No, we don't want more.
Fuck all the rest of them. I like
Right. No, there can only be me. And my junior, or rather my effects. But yeah, and they seem to vary in age range. All of them, though, are at least younger than the first couple. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 young men. And 2 young ladies.
Who are these people?
They sort of pile in, and yes, the eyebrows of Hickory and the sheriff, or sorry, the eyebrows of Hickory and the prince and his seneschal, because Hickory's the prince, right?
No, Hickory's the sheriff.
Sorry, yes, Hickory's the sheriff, and then there's the other gentleman who sort of his left hand. Oh no, yeah. Oh no. Hickory is not the sheriff.
Yeah.
Theo, the gangrel, is the sheriff. So yeah, the three of them, their eyebrows, after the third or fourth,
What is Hickory?
Hickory's just an esteemed gentleman of the court. He is technically the Ruha Commission.
Hickory is one cool dude.
He is.
That's right.
He's played by Sam Elliott.
Oh yeah. Now
Yeah.
that's exactly
Fuck
what I
you.
meant.
I thought he was game.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Gangrel, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
He's like Sam Elliott.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah.
Theo is the sheriff who is a gangrel. And Hickory, also a gangrel, is the primitive.
Okay.
So yeah, Sam Elliott. And after the third or fourth, all three eyebrows go up a little. Around seven or eight, the eyebrows are way up. And by that 13th, they're just in the atmosphere. They've flown away, never to be seen again. It's unfortunate. Now each of them only has one eyebrow.
You can help.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. He plucks them out of the sky and puts them in
Now all their eyebrows are sentient.
We have different
We did reattach poor kiddo's arm, right?
Yeah.
That was
Okay.
a
Yeah.
process. Oh, yeah.
Properly.
Yeah,
I
he's-
know. I think you made like some minor adjustments. That
Oh
you
yeah, no, I
didn't tell
fucked it
us.
up. I know I did, but it's
Yeah, no, you fucked it up, and then we gave him to a real doctor.
Yeah.
So it'll probably take longer to heal than normally would, but it should be fine.
You fucked it up because it was too straightforward.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I'm like
yeah.
I'm sitting there like trying to staple it back together, and I
But
get
more
like
presently-
yeah.
This schoolhouse may or may not be at the most people who've ever been in it before.
So it's like really crowded.
Yeah, y'all
like,
are
this is
getting
just
real
like-
cozy.
This is just like tent back home.
And of course, you can tell some of the dispositions of a few of them as a few of them stay very upright and against the wall, and some of them sort of like try and make space for the others, and a couple just sit themselves at desks and sort of man spread, and
Is anybody near me?
kinda, yeah, just because of the proximity of the building.
Right.
Is there any read on what
I put my feet up on my desk.
plan these all are?
Not Sprotty.
Okay, that's right.
Okay.
What instinct or skill do you wish to employ to get a bead?
They're all wearing they're nobles, right? Or they look kind of nobility, or they
No, just
it's like normal.
very middle road. You walked in a flannel shirt, jeans. You see some like fairy dresses. You see.
It's not made for the miters and all.
So you see, yeah,
So there was
'cause they
that
were
weird
tents, and
sticky
then
shit.
that's right. Tweed, tweed, and wool pants. Yeah.
Okay,
So woolen slacks, trousers, and yeah, they're well maintained, but not, and maybe of decent make, but not fancy.
They're not like wearing like a signet ring or some sort of like.
There's a couple little effects here and there, but nothing that jumps out at you right away that you're like, Oh, they have good breeding. No.
Okay.
Just obviously good breeders.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
So, yeah, they all sidle in, and there is a very, if this pause was any more pregnant, they would have popped out of it already.
They would have popped out at 14.
Yeah, and then,
Turkey's ready.
speaking of which, it's 9.
Right.
Um, and
I just turned it off.
the prince, in an uncharacteristic move, stands up off the desk and turns to the oldest couple and says, "Welcome. And who might y'all be? And what is your business in our city?" And the gentleman takes off his hat, and then all the other gents also doff their hats a beat after, almost choreographed. And he says, Hubert Chroma, sir. We are passing through. This is my family, and we wanted to make sure we make proper introductions so that there was no misunderstandings. And he goes, "All right, Chroma. So you know, this is my city. I'm the prince here. This is my in the court. No one so far that maybe were in the 7 months. Okay, cool.
Oh, wait, me?
Yeah, I don't know, whoever.
Oh. There's
Have accepted.
Oh, there is a door.
yeah, there's already
So no need.
Yeah. So
Um,
yeah. So
you
I'm
would
yeah.
Full adventure.
We already did that.
Okay, good. Then introduces you as the
So awful.
Salt beans.
Fix your muffler or something.
Introduces Cleo. Introduces Theodore. Introduces Hickory. Introduces himself.
Hannah also has that very sharp raised eyebrow at the group.
Have you accepted Primogen status?
I'm
Or,
not, 'cause
or
I'm a Victoria.
Yeah, she's with
I
them.
was looking over John, but
Oh.
thank you.
We've
Would
I was
you
about to
care?
say like time has passed. So
Oh,
as a heads up.
You can have it. If not, that's fine too.
I think Abe is doing, excursions into the wild because he's uber paranoid about the Sabbat. So I think he might have taken it.
Okay. And they wouldn't have offered it directly to Frankie. They would have asked you, who seems to be her handler, if she would be upset if it wasn't offered, and if she could take the responsibility if she had it.
I mean, these are yes and no, basically.
Yeah, so it's more like depends.
In which case, they were like, okay. and
Probably,
never
it's
offered.
probably a no.
Turns out Malkavian and Primogen aren't exactly reliable anyway.
Cindy is like, who is the
I think the
most
question-
senior of your.
I think the question is how much being a Primogen makes, like, do I have to fucking stay here on a Primogen? Because his whole deal is trying to find his own immense, so.
No. Primogen in this port, if this isn't your home base, because as a Primogen are here, this basically means you are the representation for your clan for the time being.
Oh, okay.
There is an understanding that you will be leaving, so it's mostly just as another sign of good faith that you're being offered this position while you're here. Should something come up, you have that clout.
That's right. And yeah, so if he was offered the position of power, then he would take the position of power.
No.
Even though it's like, I'm a Primogen of
I don't want
one.
it anyway.
I figured you would.
And
Or
I
two,
figure like half of your
we'll see about that.
personality is probably thinking that's what I believe in.
Probably.
No, that's fair.
I'm never gonna look like you.
So he introduces all of you to Mr. Chroma, and brief introductions, as is the standard in this court. And then
Really.
he goes, "Okay, Mr. Chrono, or he's like, he looks over and he goes, the prince standing in front of Hubert, he goes, so of course I have some questions. You might have asked them here, or should we have a discussion later?" And Hubert kind of smiles knowingly and glances over at his brood, and he goes, "I'm willing to answer them publicly because I have nothing to hide." And the prince goes,
Sorry.
"And what Mormons?" Well, funny. If that crosses Mrs. Sterling's mind at all, you get that? You get like there's you just know. You fucking know. Like this is a vampire thing. Everyone else in this room has that exact same thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of how many of these people are married to each other? Are those all his wives and each one's a son? So
Dear. I don't think I'm having that thought.
and so he goes.
Yeah, your thoughts are pretty
So the
good.
prince goes, "Well, all right. I appreciate that."
Feels like there's about to be some really gossip going on.
And he goes, "Might I inquire if you follow a particular faith?" And Hubert says, "Yes, we do." And the prince goes, "Fair enough. Are y'all Mormons?" And Hubert goes, "No, sir. No, we are not." And
Are you lying?
And some of you might be able to tell. And so,
I'll
and, he,
tell you when you're over.
and the prince goes, "Very well." And
I know.
I imagine since Paul brought you and your wife in, you are full-fledged members of this court, insofar as you have a right to be here. And Chroma goes, "Yes, I believe so." If you mean that we've accepted the embrace, yes, both me and my wife have done so. And the prince gives a, not at all shy, like, run down the line. And Chroma goes, "Your Highness, I have brought the rest of this portion of my family
This
because they are either of the blood or in the process thereof and have made the choice or not, but will be part of our family until they meet an end or not as part of that process." And the prince goes, "All right."
That Jen has enough people to start his own settlement.
"And how long do you intend to stay in my city before moving on?" And Mr. Crow goes, "Oh, less than a week at the most, just long enough to reprovision and head out. Like our favorite food, we are heading west." And you see the prince kind of pause at the mention of favorite food, and he goes, "Sounds good. Then you're welcome in our town for a week. I trust that your feeding habits are discreet, as we do uphold masquerade in this town that would be tenuous." And Chroma goes, "Understood, sir." And the prince goes, "Glad. Understandings are my favorite." "Do y'all have any questions?" And Mr. Chroma says, "No, not at all, so long as I've presented myself and my family as desired and shall undergo no more unsure scrutiny." And the prince says, "For now, of course." Chroma goes, "Thank you, sir. Thank you, my lord. That's all you can ask." And Chroma sort of takes a step back in deference, and the prince goes, And slides back over up onto the desk. All is well.
Hannah's still giving them all a steely glare.
Oh,
like,
sure, yeah.
eyebrow raised and just like.
Hers has a very strong tone to it.
I was like, mine's not a steely gaze, but it's definitely a.
What's all this, please?
I definitely have my legs on my desk to make sure no one uses it as a chair. 'Cause there's space. I'm a cut
leaning
ya.
back, very
Otherwise-
obviously being like. She's giving them weird faces.
Everyone's just looking at her like.
They see.
I don't actually think
There
that
may or may
weird.
not be. There's definitely one or two who will keep
Returning?
eye contact.
Yeah.
One of the two, one of the young men, smiles when making eye contact, and the other grimaces. Does not appreciate the stares. But whatever,
I don't appreciate the story. It shouldn't be so crazy.
says another vampire.
That's
Maybe
just
vampire.
It's-
Who wears
very
a
little that's
puncturer.
creepy
To be
about
fair, she's
Ain't
actually
nobody
probably
can
the least
tell until
creepy
I
out of all
pop
of
it
us.
open.
Oh, okay, all right.
It just looks normal. It has a spring.
Ah.
It's like there was very little that's creepy about me. Make sure.
Yeah.
I have a demon aura.
Try
also,
very
so-
hard.
She's the least creepy
Your
of
face
us.
looks like roadkill.
I mean, that's not wrong. It's goody. So, yeah. Once the prince is back on his throne, he goes, "All right then. All that excitement for one night. Any other pressing business?" And sort of, he gives a slow roll across a room, and then back to Theo there, and Theo just gives a half of a head shake, and the prince goes, "All right then. Court for this week is adjourned. Thank you very much." And it is a process.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really obvious. I'm sorry.
All right.
You okay?
It's okay. I'm trying not to bite my nails.
Oh yeah.
Because I put like one of those special nail polishes on.
Oh.
It's really gross.
Well,
Good.
yeah.
Good.
Good on
Oh,
you.
God, that's disgusting.
And reverse clown car. They all sort of file out into the night,
So sorry. Also so proud.
and
You regret your life.
as soon as the last one sort of turns the corner out of the door, what's her name? Cleo just like floats to one of the windows and is like looking out. And a couple Hickory and Paul just sort of make non-committal grunts as they sort of follow out into the night to go about their business. And
I know this is.
Cleo's husband is just sort of like chuckling and shaking his head.
I know that this is
I've joined Cleo.
strange coming from me,
Who are you
but
talking to?
just in general.
Just sort of
To the group.
speaking to
Yeah,
whoever's left.
As after they leave, after those ones file out, it's like, oh, this is strange coming from me, but that was very strange. Very
What's so strange about that? Just people that look alike.
Anybody else got a weird cult vibe?
Yeah,
Theo chuckled at that.
disconcerting.
heavy.
Okay.
I don't know. Friendly families get good sometimes.
The prince stands up and he goes, "Sure,
A band together.
fellow
They do.
individuals of the court, they have presented themselves in good faith and have undertaken the scrutiny given so far. If you have concerns or yeah, maybe that works. Or grievances you wish to air, please let me or my sheriff know as soon as possible. Otherwise, the court is adjourned."
How we do this mess?
Feels a little scalded, but still
Hannah
standing.
turns the right eyebrow to him and like it slowly kind of goes down.
None of those people are
Yeah.
taking it.
And he goes, what's your last Hannah?
Ellen.
Thank you, Miss Allen. I knew you would understand.
I
And sort of, I still see Theo is still chuckling as he walks out the door.
We're gonna be hens.
And he goes, Cleo. And Cleo's like, uh-huh. And he goes, Cleo. And you hear the husband go, Cleo. And she's like, yes. And he goes, are we still on for this evening? And she goes, oh, glancing at the window, of course. Yes, of course. Okay, all right, come on. And she shoos the husband like he's the one keeping things. All right, she's like, come on, let's it's like.
I don't understand that gossip, and it looks like a big juicy steak.
Oh yeah,
She's a lion.
and so he's
As
walking just at an even clip, and she's like pushing him, but not actually making contact.
I was about to say, as Cleo goes by, I try to catch her eye, like would be like the equivalent of like call me signal, but like just through heavy eye contact.
Telegram me.
Oh yeah, like as she's shooing her husband out the door. She's like, yes, of course. Yeah, no, like yes, like at the prince. All right, and like as you make the eye telegraph, she's like, oh yes, don't worry. Out, come slow, sit back, just.
Can't take you anywhere. My goodness, molasses.
Okay.
Well, I get done staying here.
And
Yeah, I was about to say, I
And
think
Theo's
it's time
already
to
sort of
come back.
walked out, and the prince has slowly, creakingly, waiting for anyone else to start standing up and leaving.
No, I mean,
I know, we're
You
fine.
all start.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
As soon as
yeah.
it's obvious the rest of you are going to start
Yes.
leaving, he fully comes off the front desk and follows the rest of you out and closes the door behind.
really,
As you walk out though,
yes.
they're all still kind of there. They're like a few of them have they've reduced in number. A few have wandered off. So, like you can only imagine some left
One
already.
you can't see.
But, no, now there's only like a half of dozen.
Feasible people.
You see what appear to be the
And
eldest
I do
young man
a once a week
with
appearance at the brothel.
the wife, two other of the men, and the two ladies.
Wait, how many people did you just say? 2 men, 2 ladies.
And the eldest, what you assume to be, or what visibly appears to be the eldest of the children, and the mother, or the wife.
Carla's gone.
Mrs. Crumma, you assume.
Yeah, but not this
But
one.
the rest have moved on. You see one of the young men being like, yeah, at the wife who's chewing, and he appears to be moving on to whatever task they were discussing with some trepidation. Miss
Alan.
Alan, yes. I'm so lovely to make your acquaintance. Or face to face. You may. I am Antoinette, but please, Nettie. Or please, Nettie. You know this.
They're Catholics in France. No, they're Protestants in France. They are the opposite of whatever the main Christian religion was in France at a time.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm like,
What's
broad
the
distinguishing
Protestant, yeah.
French
They're
Protestants.
Protestant.
All right.
They're a rival community to the Jesuits.
Okay.
I do the whole like shake your hand politely deal because it's what you do.
You feel some nice calluses on there. She's definitely seen a life before, but it hasn't seemed to
But
warn her
God
down.
does. Because that
But
makes
just strengthen her. And
And I just go, while you're in town, my lovely friend, oh my god. Yeah, I was like,
You wouldn't tell me.
I wouldn't say. My lovely friend Mrs. Sterling has place once a week. If you are interested in hearing some of his work.
Hens plates nightly at the brothel.
Oh, Ham's place.
Yes.
Whatever she's.
when you say, or or you would call it by its name, not the brothel.
Yes, yes, of course.
Well, I don't say the brothel.
I don't remember. I don't remember the name of the brothel.
I don't mention the
Oh, you don't
brothel.
mention
I
the
don't.
brothel?
I don't mention the brothel. I just mention
Yeah,
we
yeah.
most
We don't-
nights
we don't
at
use
Pam's
that word.
place.
It presents itself as a above board establishment with rooms, saloon situation, but it
Well,
is-
there was the
it is
nicer
a-
one and the lower one.
The lower one's where I hang
And the
out.
lower one was the
That's where
one.
the ladies are.
No, the one that I played the piano in to
that the
calm
nicer
the
one?
ghost was
Yeah.
the nicer one.
That was
Okay.
the Gilded Heart.
Okay,
That's
so
the nicer saloon one.
That is
one-
actually a brothel.
yes.
Oh, is it a
One-
brothel?
Yes, it
They
is.
both are.
Yeah,
Oh, they're both
just, it's just
brothels.
one picks up a nicer front.
Yeah,
The
the Gilded Earth puts
Oh.
on airs
Yes.
because it can,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
jaded cormorant.
No.
What's that name?
It's as bad as my obsidian obelisk.
Oh,
Please.
jaded current.
The updated current is like the best.
Jaded current.
That's
Well,
It's,
that was the name of
calls a spade a spade. And
yeah.
so.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure part of the
the
reason
Mars
put on
brothel.
airs over the past
Yeah.
years
Oh,
is I've been staying there the whole time.
Yeah, they were a good.
Oh,
a nice place to start.
right.
with.
Yeah.
The one dick.
Yeah.
BBC.
I mentioned the Gilded
I
Heart.
know whether they left like
I
that.
was like, I would enjoy some evening entertainment in the musical sense. The Gilded Heart.
Oh, we actually staying.
Absolutely, we are
I've got my parasol up,
Yeah.
twirling over my shoulder, and just gently sashaying down the road.
And she's like, and which one was Mrs. Stone? Was she the young one? Was she the young man's lap? Or the origin was lap?
Oh.
Or the scandal.
Was, no? Which one was
No,
Mrs. Sterling?
How do you describe yourself? Like
Hella British.
Yeah, oh, I mean, yeah,
I was the impeccably well dressed
Double
one
British.
with the strawberry blonde hair and the pretty white lace parasol.
That's how I describe her.
And like I literally am just slowly walking my way down the street.
Oh, we are a family who enjoys arts, and that sounds lovely. Does she do anything from the gospel?
I paused for a moment. I'm not sure. Yeah, I was like, the gospel is what?
Christian gospel, the good book,
Oh,
or is that, or is the court somewhat at odds with that?
I don't
We don't wish to cause any trouble while we're here.
believe so. And she generally doesn't like as far as she knows, it's never really come up. So, I just look at her more like, I suppose we could ask Mrs. Stone.
Well, I would never impose. I was just curious.
It's not quite happened in a saloon environment, has it not?
Oh, they're both saloons?
Yes.
No, they're not. Pam's is just like,
No, Pam's is an actual like boarding.
it's just like
Yeah, Sam is an actual
Why
nice.
can't I get any of this right? Why is it too long in between fucking sections?
I don't know. Why is it too long in between sessions? Anyway.
Sorry.
We said Pam's place was a proper hotel.
Yes, but you don't perform there.
Yes, I do.
It is.
Yeah,
She
That's where
performs
she
in
lives.
my
Yes.
Motherfucker.
Yes,
She performs in the Gilded Hearth weekly.
once a week. I
Okay, got it all backwards now. Okay, yes. So Pam's Place is a hotel.
but basically every night
Yes.
I perform at Pam's place because that is where I lodge.
Right.
Yes, which is a
Alright.
proper hotel.
Whatever she
we're there too.
Yes.
and I inform her
What's
no,
happening?
Pam's Place is I'm still like
Basically.
it's a place of lodging.
Because
so
you look
it's,
13.
Papa
you're
said no.
family oriented to that. You
Yes,
look
there's
13
not
and it's
been
not a proper.
a call
Yeah.
for gospel.
One's a brothel and the other one is a brothel. So-
Oh, okay.
Do you keep Sundays?
We try, yes. But, you know,
I was
sometimes
raised in the Church of England.
sometimes the trials
We
of
don't
our
have any
of our master dictate we may need to toil on that day, but we all accept that may be part of strengthening, etc.
Yes, that's me.
Terribly interested in Christian vampires here.
Yeah.
This crew was weaned on Dark Ages.
I just go, no,
And you, Mrs. Allen, or Ms. Allen, thank you so much for welcoming us to your home, and you know, we hope to be excellent guests.
I shake her head and I make them anyway.
Each of the gentlemen
Nods.
tips the hat, and the two girls. a couple. One of the girls and one of the guys are a little late on the fire, but you know, one elbow nudge, what have you, and as you go, and you all hear a quiet Miss Allen as you go because they all very good conversation. Yeah.
All the way down the line.
All the way down the line.
Too polite, I don't like it.
It rises in
Like a bunch of
pitch.
creepy birds whispering at each other.
So
Yes.
I think
whatever it takes to unease you.
Like
find
the
it very
pitch
First,
goes higher.
religion
as it
checks.
goes
So this one
down.
sort of because there was a girl in between and one at the end. And
I don't.
gentlemen
Yeah.
may have a higher. And, you know,
There's no religion checks.
no, that would be
A cult?
a cult or no. I'd go for that one. Academic.
Okay, I would
That
like
is commonly the path of
Oh,
education.
I would like to
Or,
know a check. Pick one.
Are you going for knowledge of being in the church, or are you going for knowledge of religion?
I am going for knowledge of vampire sex.
What?
Sex. I can't say the word.
With a T.
So Assamites, or so set tights, gotcha. All right.
The answer
That
to that
would
question
be-
is yes.
Yes.
The answer to
Okay.
that question is we do, but it doesn't feel the same, so it's depressing.
Yeah. And you got to spend
Okay.
a blood point.
Different
So that's
clans have
typically
different
so that's
disciplines.
typically Assamites are usually the clan that.
Sorry, I was making a bad joke that didn't make sense.
No.
What's your actual question?
My actual question
The
is
sex of.
religions,
Okay.
like of Christian religions. What types of vampire classes would be any?
That's well, a lot of mortals come from various religious backgrounds.
Yeah.
And when they're embraced, they have to reconcile that. Fortunato is a great example.
Yeah, but aren't there some classes that like actually can't go in churches?
No, that's a flaw you can take.
Oh, that's
that
a flaw
you
you
just
can
happen
take.
to be
Okay.
Yeah.
Mars
extra
had a
vampire.
form.
Okay, but it's not actually applicable to plants.
No, yeah.
Okay, then I'll
My
pass.
character in Dark Ages is more or less a priest. That's
Okay.
But yeah,
But then
there's,
he killed
there's no
people.
there's no clan. There's no main clan that has a problem with that.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Well, that answers my question.
so yeah, and you would be aware of that.
Think of it this way, like being turned basically freezes you, like you become stagnant. So whatever your belief system was, like a lot of vampires end up sort of clinging to because it's a weird I'm this new thing now, but like I don't want to lose who I was, and
And that does not fit into most Christo Judea.
Right.
Yeah.
Turns out we have a real problem with the whole thou shalt not kill thing. So.
Okay.
Well, so do most mortals. So what are you gonna do?
so if you believe legends, vampires are born because God hates them.
Is anyone else sort of lingering, or was Miss Allen the last one out?
What's today's date? Like, is it
I
Monday?
think this is he hold it on a Wednesday? I don't remember. It's called a Wednesday.
Okay,
I feel like a Wednesday.
so Wednesday is the golden birth. I have to say.
You step outside and immediately call the Frankie.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does Frankie do with all this?
Just looked at. I mean, didn't really think it was on all that much. Like, why are people making a big deal about it? Some people that was
Because
last-
you rumored a lot of people.
Thank you.
I mean, yeah.
This is the best. I love it.
Well, mostly what Frankie's interested in is making sure that these people aren't like eating anything I consider mine or like any of ours.
As far as you know, no. I'm
If
So
they're
on
just
that
not
topic,
touching our stuff.
they're
That's
cool.
cool. They're cool.
yeah, so far they're
So
cool.
on that topic, as long as these people are here, we're extending them the same courtesy we extend everybody else, right?
That everybody's taking us from each other.
Correct. That includes protection.
But don't follow Bill's example.
That said, if you were to go around and sort of keep tabs on what they're doing,
That's okay.
that might be a dual benefit.
So you guys having this conversation sort of at the doorway inside, or
Well,
around
I
the
would
corner,
take
or
her aside
along-
to
Somewhere
sort of-
Else.
You
we're not
removed yourself from the
so we're
situation.
not projecting this out, like in the
Yeah, because when you do this, I am not helping.
So the
Must
couple
just
of you,
immediately say it
a
loud.
couple of you who were sort of last out, who lingered, probably heard something along the effect of, "Mama, yes, Zeta. Can me and Greg go on ahead and go back to Papa?" "Yes, go ahead." And that would be the last words you hear from the group as you move on.
I mean, they can do whatever they do in the private. I don't care about, but there's a lot of them. So
Oh, this is a problem because
I mean, big families are big families. And when you settle, you settle.
well, I mean, when you have a lot of people in 110 and we can have a lot of food, we just put it up in pieces. Can't really do that.
See, now you're getting it. So yeah, so don't go too out of the way, but
So-
you should keep an eye out. But
Sure.
Carl said he was they were headed west, correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
That's
I didn't
their-
know that because that's the thing that I want to talk to you about.
Mhm. So, real quick, like bullet points, 2 lines. What did you do in the last 7 months?
Studied that ball more,
Oh boy,
and also,
gotta make sure it doesn't have cancer.
well, yeah, also
Sorry.
learned that $3 program. So I've been spending a lot of time in nature.
Oh, okay.
So
Just rooting around.
rooting around, really just
Rude
like
guy.
just like trying to learn how to do that thing.
Ralph has embraced this hope and helped you at any opportunity.
I feel like I'd never leave the house
They're
again.
certainly
I
confused,
wouldn't be
but
able to-
happy
I
that
wouldn't
you've
even know
taken
what
a
to do.
you have taken less interest in him in whatever degree.
That's true.
Bert is
Yeah.
ever enthusiastic as you've made him. Okay, cool.
he's
Same old, same old.
multi-classing.
Making
but
that
the
money?
second class is also wizard.
Probably lost it, a chunk of it too.
Something.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give me a D10 and a D double out. Give me a percentage.
19.
19. Okay. Roll me 1d10.
3.
3. Okay. You temporarily have 1 less dot in resources.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You had a real bad run there. Someone was using the same fucking tricks you were using.
Murdered that guy.
A little bit. But not before his partner left town with all the money. So you're recouping currently.
In the midst of all that, that last several weeks or so, I did at some point or other fashion a deck of playing cards made out of human skin, and tried to give it to her. And
Her.
Oh, her, right.
I'm a
Sorry.
girl.
yeah,
This
that's the
one.
game.
God
This
damn
one's
it.
a girl.
Sorry.
Her fault. All right.
Yeah.
Your fault. Your
Why
fault.
is it your fault?
That's how she keeps cosplay. It's okay. I need to be a better GM. Separate.
I've literally done it twice, and one of them is in his current game that's happening.
Yeah.
So we recently played a Pathfinder game, and I played Atsushi, which is an old man, and he kept calling me a woman, and I was like, he.
I was doing real good for the first half, and then I
Yeah.
just fell off because I was trying to convert.
No, I'm a girl. I just call myself Bill.
It's cute. All right.
Your pronouns are Bill.
Bullet points.
I mean, Abe is a soldier, so he
You've
does.
been out hunting a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of quiet nights waiting for the sunrise.
That's right. That's right. Smoking
so-
pipes.
Had a
The
tattoo.
montage has a
Yes.
beautiful violin.
It's a mock.
Yeah, so great. Yeah, we go out, shore up defenses against the Sabbat. Also training this one to being a scout.
How to shut the fuck up and listen. Focus. Focus.
But yeah, like that's he's offered that primitive position, and that's the angle he's taking with that is supporting law and order when within the city and then shoring up defenses outside.
And what has all of you been up to?
I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know if it was last session or what, but there was something about one of my relatives. And I
Oh,
probably
yeah.
tried to follow up on that at least. some part of this.
Oh
That
yeah.
had the board meeting.
So pretty much with last session, pretty much as with last session, he left off towards the west, and no one it's all the same info. It is. He was chasing after that Mormon train after your aunt, your cousin. Well, he was looking for a particular female
I
relative.
think it was your aunt.
Careful.
So that's and even inquiring with the sheriff, even inquiring with the actual sheriff, and etc. Not much else as far as a lead.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. One more.
Not really. I mean, I basically would have just been training.
Okay. Mrs. Sterling.
Can we have my husband, of course?
Oh yes. You found yourself in a wonderful situation where you are tragically apart from each other, and letters are stupidly long about how much you miss each other, and your heart is a flutter and his heart is a flutter, and you are 16 again, and it's almost the best thing ever that you are separated by a continent. It is. You stare off in the middle distance constantly with the romantic
Do
tragedy.
I know what he's doing yet?
No, it never comes up.
At
Do you ask him pointedly, what are you doing?
some point, yeah, I would.
You would be like, okay, so what's the plan or what's going on?
Yeah.
Initially, he would be surprisingly oblivious and deflective about specifics, and if pressed further, he would then talk about how these correspondences may be intercepted, and so he doesn't want to give too many specifics.
If he tells you, you have to kill it.
He's already done it. Actually, no. Well, he did do it, actually, technically.
Yeah.
Anyway, technically.
I brought you back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Take that.
Let's get that little guy. You got that big time. That's the size, right?
Secondly,
Vampire sex. All right.
Keeping this
Yes.
thing.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, I can.
Next stuff?
D&D is all fun stuff. Vampires all next stuff.
Nice. Okay.
Unless you're listening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Giovanni.
Oh, it's
Yeah, no, Giovanni, you're the one.
Remember, the Sombra is the Shadow Man. So
Yeah, the Teach Me Butt Stuff Shadow Man was the Lasombra.
Oh,
That's
right.
what I'm getting at.
That just means he has a proclivity for something. Not even Giovanni could go for the neck. It's just they're because they're assholes.
if anything, this table is typecasts. So.
So of course, all the flowery. Oh, blah 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 blah.
You do manage to get out of him that they're reestablishing their power base, and that he hopes to have a roadmap for the two of you to reunite, either by him joining you out here or for you to return to him.
Yes, that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Secondly, I do continue performing. As I said, I perform basically every night at Pam's place because it brings me joy. And then I spend a Wednesday at the Gilded with her just for fucking fun. And the lady was very nice to me, and I appreciate it. So I will bring her some pretty business.
I feel like Bill comes in.
Which she completely ignores. And continues on her
You do
business.
get a little bit of flack
Yeah, I bet.
from the madame if your heckles get a little too intense.
I try to keep it clean, but you know, sometimes you gotta take it down a peg. She's a bit,
She also brings in business, honey.
So do I. I help sometimes when I'm here.
Yeah, please do that. So that's kind of how that goes.
Damn.
That's why I don't come
Like
here
once a
very
month.
often.
Oh, yeah, or he comes down and you're like, oh boy, I gotta leave.
Oh, my friend.
Yeah, 'cause
Oh, right.
this is his
Yeah. Like, oh, right, I remember why I don't come here. Going home.
Oh no, it's so soon you're leaving. No.
Far away from all of you people.
Oh no, that's what you said last time.
Oh,
Oh.
please don't leave. I have a new gift for you.
I ain't want it.
This one sings like her.
You keep it to yourself.
This one still has its vocal cords intact.
No.
It just yells.
If you blow through the card, it sounds just like you're hitting a C note.
I make a flute that when you blow it,
No,
you
no,
blow
no.
it into scream. All right. Screaming trumpet. That's it. That's the next thing.
An oboe. I imagine like
Oh, yeah.
I imagine like a card that worked on a vanilla envelope.
No, I just see like this cartoonish thing where like it's like when you blow it, it does like the weird like party popper thing and a tongue comes out. Like, and it makes that awful noise.
I think it's literally just going to be a trumpet with a mouth on the end of it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. All
Just
right.
like dying.
Oh yeah, Fred is practicing.
The buttons
way
don't
after
do
the
anything.
distance.
They don't.
Oh man.
Yes.
So I have 2 dots in fame and 3 in resources. Are they going to stay that way?
For now,
If I picked up a little more fame.
your fame has kicked back in
Okay.
because you
Yeah, I
effectively had to
lost it for a
rebuild
while.
that, and then resources maintained because you came in with money and are able to get a little bit extra
Yeah.
for these
Just
performances.
to keep things moving.
Yeah, it's so you're stable.
Cool, thank you.
And Ms. Ellen, what have you been doing the last several months?
So I would have written a couple letters to my sire.
Absolutely.
To let them know what's happening here in the position. And I took a dot investigation as part of the thing. So I don't know, something related to that, where she's just like, I'm looking into things in this town and how shit is.
After the events of St. Louis,
Yeah.
I very much imagine that you are attempting to be much more astute and alert, considering, and that you're also being asked to perform these specific duties as a liaison, not insurgent, but
Yeah.
implant / representative of the proper masquerade. Yeah, you receive communiques to the effect of I'm glad to hear that you're being well received and building goodwill. It's unfortunate that you can't stay longer to establish a power base, but please let me know where you land. We are abandoning St. Louis for the time being, as other cities were attacked or in danger, and we are reestablishing bases of power. Escape plan.
I was going to say, at some point or another, I realized this, at some point or another during the 7 months, if we were staying here for an extended period of time, I would have tried to talk to the prince about making sure that, about escape tunnels or some sort of plan to get the vampires of the city out of the city in the case of a fire, because that was what happened to us in St. Louis,
That sucked.
and that was no good. I wrote it down on my sheet. It says escape plan. Or escape plan is next time.
And then I have the message.
His answer, because it probably came up at his house, and he's like, those of us who Havens are here, stone cellars, stone ceiling on those. The whole thing can burn down. We're fine. Vickery and Theo can just meld. We thank you for the concern. We will look into it, but at this time, it's not necessary. They could burn down the whole town. We could build it. It could be rebuilt again in about a month. Not like St. Louis, where it was a whole lot of matchstick situation.
Yeah.
And on top of that, so you felt he understood it, and that it was a good idea, but considering the situation, not particularly necessary. Yeah.
After we leave, they're gonna build it in Baltimore.
Maybe he is a politician in some effect, but to the greater question, you all agreed to leave that within a year.
Yeah.
What strides do you think you would have attempted or made to work towards that?
Impress my husband.
Sure.
I've been down here talking to my friend in Colorado.
Oh, cool.
I think for us, like Frankie is chasing somebody that went west, so
Yeah.
I think I would
In
explore
fact,
those
like, I probably wanted
avenues.
to leave like
I know,
For a
like,
while.
Bill was trying to get to California to begin with,
Yeah.
so.
Your wagon train, your crew, they've all found some odd jobs and some lodging to keep themselves, afloat and that sort of thing. But a few of them are kind of restless. It wasn't enunciated at the time, but
Oh, that's what I would be doing. I'd be trying to bond with my son.
oh,
I
yeah.
was a baby boy.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
thing as mine. Like we would have
Just like,
been working on mine's manners
Oh, yeah.
because
Well, he's
He's a
not
quick study.
embraced. He's just.
yeah.
He's a quick study.
I told her it would be prudent of her to get a human.
Yes, but like mine didn't have very good manners.
Yeah.
He's a quick study, and his features have softened a bit. He's still not a handsome individual, but at least now he can walk around in the daylight and not attract incredible stares.
And his arm is no longer attacking.
I got
The other Theo.
yeah.
The original Theo.
Yeah, Theo one.
Yeah, he was the but now he's okay. Harry,
Yeah.
is wearing black
You know what?
black fingernail polish,
Oh,
smooth hair.
Oh,
He didn't get it from me.
No.
You were very
Morrissey.
Smith.
Yeah,
I mean, Megan is totally okay with that.
yeah. My
Bill
player
is concerned.
I
My
mean,
character
Bill's
is
not.
concerned.
Yeah, Bill is just kind of like her personality. She just doesn't. She's like, it's not that I have a problem with it. I just don't know how to relate to it. I want to talk to him, but
He's asked some, because I imagine you've made a few attempts
Yeah.
to be like, hey, come on,
yeah, like
and like you try and get him out to have a good time, and he'll sort of like
I
attend and attempt.
Yeah, but I don't want to just make you do what I want to do, but I don't know what you want to do, so I'd like to talk about it. But I mean, what are you into? What do you want to do if we hang out?
He's very frustrating because he doesn't have a real answer for that. Because he's like, you've tried all the things he used to enjoy,
Yeah,
and none of them really do it. And like every so often he'll drop a question like, how do you reconcile the immortality of the soul with what we are and what we were taught?
He needs poetry.
Yeah, and you're like,
I'm like,
yeah,
like
dance.
That's
I
my
know.
forte.
Yeah, and a
It
few
never really
times
occurred to
when you start going on that, he just says, sorry, and like gets up and leaves.
No, wait, no, I was trying to. Oh no! I really was ready to answer your question. I'm so sorry.
I was like,
Bill
do I notice this?
Bill got saddled
That's a
with a
word.
southern teenager.
surprise
It's
teenager.
too early for Edgar Allan Poe, so I can't give him any.
I mean, I'm pretty. I mean, especially
She wouldn't
since
bring him around, really.
yeah, but especially since my prediction is into gossip. But I'm like, ooh, ahead.
Yeah, but if he's not around, like I don't. He would seek, like she actively seeks him out
Yeah.
to be like, hey, good, you're still undead. hey, let's go. Let's
Hey,
let's
you
ride.
haven't met
Let's
the summer or anything.
let's go.
I'm really
Let's
happy
go
to
tip
hear that.
cows. You know,
Yeah,
something. I don't know if it would particularly occur for him to wander into wherever.
No, but I mean, like, have I noticed her trying to bond with him?
I don't think so because
Because I would never do it where you are.
yeah,
The question is whether or not
you're a
he's
happy
seeing what
space.
his
she's trying to give him a safe space.
Well, yeah, I think that's what we're gonna help with right now. I think his corridor reception is just sadness.
So
emo.
Yeah.
Would I have
No,
been cross paths with
I mean,
him?
that's on brand.
Yeah.
probably not. He usually shows up to court, but often not. And if someone asks about, it's like, why isn't Perry at court? And it's like, oh, he cleared it with Hickory, or he cleared it with
Yeah, because
Cleo.
him and Hickory are
You are
cool.
Like it's always just cleared it with one of the heads, either Cleo or the prince,
I was gonna look something
or Hickory,
up
who
on
has
the
who obviously has the princess here,
Yeah.
who everyone accepts.
Okay.
So, and Cleo the Persian, you know, she's like, yeah, he said he didn't want to be at court this week, and I didn't see any reason.
Oh,
to
it's
make
not
him
too
come."
early for Edgar Allan Poe. This is your Edgar Allan Poe dies.
Yeah. Oh wow.
I'm gonna go find some. It's like, but maybe anybody likes.
I was gonna say, like, she offers him a book of poetry, or like she gives him a journal and says, create. Because that's us. So,
Bill's not that kind of person, so she wouldn't have thought.
which is why I'm like, I would.
Like,
This is my thing.
I mean, I might have actually gone and talked to her since she is another corridor. Like, hey, Phil.
How do we fix up people?
I'm so sorry. Is there someone behind me?
Oh, excuse me, Mrs. Sterling.
Yes, thank you. That's correct.
Can I for a minute?
That sounds uncomfortable.
I'm like, can I talk to you?
I like talking.
That's also
It's not you. No one's talking to you.
In her brain, she says that also
So
sounds
she's
uncomfortable.
like,
Yes, of course. What can I help you with?
Command you. Just saying to practice.
You see my kid, right?
Yes, Harry.
Yeah.
Or Mr.
Yeah,
whatever.
take over
Heracles.
Yes.
That's his name.
It's so endearing that she keeps calling him her kid.
Yes, Mr. Pericles, yes.
So, and I'm trying to, he's taking it rough. And he has been from the beginning, and I feel really good about that, but I can't seem to, really make things happen. Yeah.
Does he read? Do you know if he can?
I'm pretty sure he can. He seems like a brainy kid.
Keeps using these 5-syllable words on me. You better fucking read a book.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's sociopath.
So she brings you back to her rooms, and yes, the very lovely actually. She's got the whole thing completely refurnished.
Chloe doesn't know whether to offer her hospitality or not because of this situation.
Definitely gives her a manners.
Okay. I was like, oui. And then and she's like, and she says in French, would you like, would you like?
I don't know what you're saying.
She like holds up like a
You-
glass or
You
like
may
smooth
offer
talk.
her hospitality in her own tongue.
Do you want anything?
No, I'm good, but thank you.
Proper English would be preferable. Thank you.
What's the missus like? Would the miss like anything?
No.
Like this accent is yours, and it's gross. It's just not good.
No, but thank you.
Very good, miss. Thank you. And just sort of like, kill me, please. And then sort of walks off and goes about her nesting.
I was trying to remember what my other dude's name was. Jean-Pierre.
Yeah, JP.
She calls Jean-Pierre out and whispers strangely to him. And he returns with a trunk, and inside is just books. And she goes, these are poetry, these are history.
What's that black one?
Poetry. So she picks out an Edgar Allan Poe.
That's fun. I like
And
it.
she picks out a Mary Shelley and a few other little things. And
And I'm
he might enjoy this.
stay.
Okay.
So
And if not,
it's just nice for
he might join his
certain
own
but
and hand you an empty
it also works really well for fun magic.
and a stylus.
It's pretty fun.
Because when I don't have a song to sing, sometimes I need to make a new one.
Cool, thanks.
Thanks, Phil. You're a real pal.
Yeah.
Sorry I said all that shit about you behind your back. I won't stop, though. I meant it, but I feel a little bad.
I promised Patty I would keep her with me as a lady friend.
Oh yeah,
Not a lady friend, but a bosom buddy.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Have you started feeding her?
If it is up
Oh,
her
yeah.
will, yes.
That was so much
If
better.
it is up her will, yes.
I wish
If
she
she seems
said that.
interested in it, then I will start doing so.
She doesn't seem inclined. Make a check for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. Let's do wits
You
and
won't like it.
Yeah, it's fine to bury them.
It's extra fun.
wits plus empathy.
I'm so little, I'm so scratchy.
I like it.
Rude.
Wits plus
Empathy.
The finer the better.
I usually
Yeah.
end up breaking.
I was like,
What's up, bro?
I do have for you. I do have what? We have 4 dots and some specialty. Thank you. I have a specialty in poetry. Good work. Difficulty.
7. Ooh. Oh yeah.
I rolled a 7 and 2 ones.
I saw that here.
Oh,
That sounds like
Wow. She doesn't seem inclined.
Okay.
So she's
I
just
just-
your new little pet project, and
Yeah.
and she is.
And I dress her finely, and I take her about and let her do what she, and I give her a little allowance, and
and she feels safe expressing her femininity and comporting herself as a lady, as a young lady in the town.
she does have a perfect.
And so and the structure she is definitely on your retainer.
Yes.
So feel free to bump that.
I think I already have it from last time.
Okay. If you
Yeah.
are pretty sure, but no.
Yeah.
Cool.
So she has poetry now.
Yeah. So you get them. You're like those big words you use. I think there's some in these books.
I took a look. It seems like it's right up your alley. Here you go. And Phil gave me this one. So if you want to like put your thoughts down, get them out of your head and onto somewhere else, you can write them down in here as well. Here you go.
The couple times you felt really hopeful about it, he gives the same kind of reaction to this. He's like, okay, yeah, all right, cool. Like this, sure. I didn't.
Someday Joy Division will happen.
Right, or not happy, but better.
Yeah.
You'll understand.
One of
Yeah.
these, one of these days,
And it was off.
They don't ridiculously like me.
one of these
I'm
days,
gonna
my
write
immortal
that
sire,
down.
Robert Smith.
I'm gonna write that in the
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah.
Rigia has a distant friend.
So yeah, so cool. And then fast forward back to this day. So that night, you performed at the Gilded Hearth.
Yes, on Wednesdays, yes.
I think this
And
might
I
be.
have tuned her piano.
Oh, absolutely. Can't abide not having that. Playing with an odd octave on 3 keys has been a challenge you did not enjoy.
Yeah.
I think this evening would be one of the evenings you have a guest associate, a local youngin who's been working on the violin and can actually play several notes correctly. We'll be joining you this evening, and much to everyone's pleasure. And I think because it's a little bit of a special occasion, the crew would have shown up. And as per the invitation, a representative cadre of the
The ruffle, okay.
well, they it's just a saloon where
Oh, that's quite right.
where some excellent performing happens.
I didn't mention that saloon.
Oh, you didn't mention the saloon.
No, I didn't. I specifically left the Gilded Hearth out.
Okay.
Yeah.
As soon as she was like,
Did she sing gospel?
actually no, it was before she sang gospel. I was just sort of like, oh, she's like, because they had seemed very like weird.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm not gonna mention the Gilded Hearth. I only mentioned the outlet, so they would.
Maybe they just heard the music.
Yes, also possible.
So no, that would have changed it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You recognize 3 of the Chromos, all younger men.
No,
Not the eldest. Definitely 2 of the crew that were sitting outside, and one of the ones who had seemed to wander off earlier. They come in. 3 drinks are ordered. Only one of them is actually being drunk on.
We have these youngins
And
feeling the burning in their long johns.
yeah. And the one who is drinking is also looking around a lot.
Which one's a whore?
He's the one that's not turned yet.
And
Philippa tunes the violin before they get started.
the youngin helps and is like you string up that high chord real tight and he's like or the young, I don't know if it's up he or she, but it's like and you're like and pluck and it's like
Do a pretty
and like there's a little bit of a lead as he does as they don't trust it as you guys settle in. It's nice. Harry's there as well. He's got 2 of the books. He's got the Shelley and he's got his journal.
Well, would it be Mary Shelley or would it be Percy Shelley? Percy Shelley wrote romantic ass poetry.
Yeah, but I was going for dark.
Okay,
So
so
yeah.
Mary.
Actually, I think he would have picked up Byron by now.
Yeah, probably.
Lovely.
Yeah,
Byron,
he would have
probably.
known.
Your books have been returned since, but you know,
And if he returns them himself, the chest is always open.
he manages to find his own copy of
Bill
Byron.
started to feel weird about asking you because now she feels like you're closer to her kid than she is.
You do realize
She's just the
that
library.
between the 2 of you, you have now birthed the most typical Toreador.
Well done.
Somehow
gave
you
him life.
parented
I gave him
the archetype of Toreadors.
Yes.
You gave him the
I
tragic
gave him-
backstory.
I gave him life, but you gave him something to live for.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
No, you gave him unlife, and she gave him something to unlive for. It's fucking, it's the worst.
I was where you were.
And I
was
do
shitty.
anything. I don't think I'm there, but
Well, you would have followed Axtad.
oh, are you like there too?
Yeah, we'll file into it.
And you know, Tentacle Dad.
Fuck it out.
was,
No,
uh,
it's
I
just-
know, tentacle. It's tentacle
Yeah.
now.
Oh,
I
just
have my own-
Tentacle, not Tentacle
I
Dad.
have my own chair there.
No, tentacle.
Yeah, right.
Oh, sorry.
Tentacle.
Tentacle.
That's it.
Yes, Axtad and Tentacle are going to be there.
Okay, I guess
And that
so.
person you have had a play date with is also going to be playing the violin. Because it's, well, you said, hey, let's play, so it's play date.
Oh.
'Cause you
Well, I
found it
probably
on-
don't remember because I'm not
Oh,
clutching right now.
Whenever you, yeah. Oh, wait, who are you this evening?
I am Frankie.
You are proper Frankie?
Yeah.
Frankie's kind of the wild one, right?
Oh, I guess Frankie's the one that knows the most of all of them. So maybe,
Yeah.
awkwardly.
So
I do like that it's really light.
you can be there.
People obsessed
Well,
compared to
so
like
before
television.
this,
Yeah,
David
it's
actually
not
said,
like
hey,
a
well,
weird
if you happen to just see,
It's just
you know,
it's
sneak around and see what
it's
they're
just-
doing, then you can see what they're doing. Because I thought I was actually going to be like snooping around outside.
That works. It's just sort of peeking in, checking
It's
on
not
them.
as stretchy.
Because there doesn't appear to be anyone else outside. Right. It's
You might have
just the-
followed the
I like
tweet.
that.
Yeah, it's just the 3 inside.
Yeah,
And
okay.
you're
Yeah,
going
so at some point I just kind of The one's out here. Oh, and one's here 10. Okay.
Right.
But my favorite comes around is like the metal.
Anything
I
else?
do like the metal heavy ones.
So
I
she
like
goes
those
about her
ones.
performance.
Okay.
It's lovely. The young person can only do one song before they have to go home. So they do,
Like
it's good, and then she slides into a slightly new routine with some more minor keys, but with a little bit of tempo, and you just piano sing sometimes.
In Pam's place, I sing.
Yeah.
And here it's both.
Okay. Yeah. And the night wears on without really much event. You do notice one of the chromas who wasn't drinking goes off with one of the young ladies working. Comes back, seems a bit more rosy in the cheeks afterwards.
Bill is watching him very closely.
Yeah, nothing seems odd. Like you're like, oh yeah, okay, all right.
Does the
Bill
does
gets
the
up,
lady
goes
who
over.
went off with come back?
Eventually,
Okay.
she seems a little flustered, like
Yeah.
like he was quite a customer. So you're like, yeah, the teeth will do that. And
Well, it's just a matter of they have at least enough
oh yeah, yeah,
restraint to not murder everybody they eat.
and yeah, the day approaches, and at about that time, or she's getting into you're getting into your last song of the evening, and Harry stands up, and he comes over to you, and he's like, "You could hang on to these for me for a bit." I appreciate that. He puts the books over.
Yeah, no, of course.
He's like,
Anything you want.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And he steps outside and gets on his horse and rides off for the night. Tumble check. I think she just finally has enough space to do it. Maybe that's what it is.
She's chasing her own tail.
Yeah, she's literally just like turning me in
TV
circles.
does that sometimes, but he does it like big.
I just kind of he just stopped. Like I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, DB will sit in the chair.
Missing all of this.
He'll be sitting and his tail will
I wish
flip
I
and he'll
could
be like,
see
oh,
it.
fucking tail. And he'll get up and go in circles, but he's
Just
just in
spinning
the
around,
chair.
chasing
Like-
it down.
This is new.
He
Like
would hit
she's
himself in the face with his own tail and then get upset about it. And
she'll catch it, she'll lick it for a second, release it, and then like go back to chasing. And wait, and like this is very new. This is like 2 weeks new, and I'm like, what are you doing, you creeper?
And you finish up your set, and everyone applauses and stuff. And you give a couple extra dollars in the hat, and
Oh, I always bring Joe piano with me.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
No. Respectfully holds on to it. And it's good.
Yes.
And the chroma who did not partake sort of posts up at the table. The chroma who did partake initially goes off into the night, and the youngest chroma seems to be talking at the one who's posted, who keeps going. The younger one seems to be trying to make some sort of decision. And
Bill walks over.
they go, in unison, evening, ma'am.
Children of the corn.
Boys.
There's a
Yeah.
Like,
they're like
I feel like
the older one goes,
Philippa was just like,
Someone said something improprietous. My senses are
it was
tingling.
like almost like she was playing the piano and one key went.
the older one goes, oh, I'm sorry. And he like nudges the younger one. They both stand up and like, please have a seat. Join us. Would you like to drink? Or
no, I'm all right. You guys seem to be, well, I mean, looks like you're having a little bit of, you look like you can't decide on something. What you trying to decide on?
he turns bright red.
Yet again, weird note from Philippa. She's like, That's
Victorian
Spice
spices.
and strawberry.
Those curious.
I know. It's just,
Dark,
I
rich,
love it. I think it's
sun-blessed
hysterical.
strawberry, and the older one goes, he, please do have a seat. Because they're both still standing.
Oh, okay. I'll sit down.
And so they, as soon as your butt hits, they go.
Wings on the table.
And then yeah, and the younger one is just like he's very interested in his glass suddenly. And he's like,
Oh, that's fine. We could put a different noodle in there.
and then
Okay.
and the little one-
Okay.
the little
I don't
one
mind what noodle it is. I mean, we don't. Okay.
goes, "You-
That's great.
my brother Emmett here, he's
Oh no.
he's trying to
Like so close to Everett.
he's trying to decide how he's going to
It's like your Victoria doing this.
Okay.
Um,
Do you guys have any like
Organ, piano solo.
rules that you're not supposed to be breaking, or something like other places you're not supposed to go, people you're not supposed to see? I don't know. You know, with the notifications, it's so weird, haphazard.
do you actually make the cross? Or you just sort of like gesticulating in a vague cross?
Yeah, cross like
Just sort of a couple of these and a maybe and a okay. Alright. Yeah,
I feel like I am now interested
And
in
then-
this conversation.
So wait, I was going to say, is
and
this
kinda
the
try
same
to-
night like that we've all met?
This is the end of that.
Okay,
No,
yeah.
I
So
sit
you
at a
guys
table
have a chance to
nearby.
round table them up yet and basically be like, we're fucking Christians, guys.
Yeah, like this would be the
Yeah.
opportunity is to start gathering each of you as she ends her set.
Okay.
But Bill was like, I'm gonna strike early.
Yeah, no.
So he goes, well, yeah. So then he's like,
It's gonna be
no, some of us have certain tastes, and but as far as rules against certain enjoyment, not really. No. It's
Interesting.
you know we're kind of for a large family, we're very close family, so we sort of stick to sort of the rules that we have set down by the father, and they serve us well. He's a reasonable man, and if one of us has an issue with some of the rules, then
So is he like your real dad, like your dad, or is he like your,
or sire,
yeah?
yes and yes,
Huh?
Curious.
which is why some of us are a little greener. And he's like,
You want to go where the real party's at, Emmett?
Everett? Emmett?
Emmett. I'm
He looks-
Everett. Oh, my husband is Everett.
and like like the slightly lower one's like eyes, and it's like, you didn't think you could get any redder, but it did. And he's like,
Is he like nose
he's
bleeding
like,
now?
almost. If it was an anime, oh yeah, it'd be fucking running, and then it would be triple. And he's like, real party?
I mean, yeah, like this place is cool and all, but this
Well, ain't no fancy piano in the other one.
this place puts on airs. It tries to seem more reputable than it actually is. But
You hear the piano like
The middle,
Bang!
the older one's like, the thumb
No, like
No, but you're
close
still
the lid.
Oh,
yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh, the cheated. Okay. It's
Yeah,
the
no,
really.
but I hate
Like, yeah,
Let's
okay.
take it
Yeah,
across the
yeah,
way.
yeah, okay.
The young one is like, you can see his mind reeling, dancing with the possibilities of
Oh, God.
what could be more what could be more entertaining than this. And
That's nice.
and the older one sort of leans a little bit back and goes,
And pretty much every holiday.
if you leave, you're on your own.
Never interested.
And Emmett's like, this is just another part of the equation. It's not a deterrent, it's not an encouragement, it's just another thing he has to keep factored.
Like, you won't be on your own.
And
Well, this is, I think he's talking about during the day. right?
Oh, yeah, but I stay at the other place. He won't be on his own.
he looks over at Emmett and he's like, You're pretty much a man in it.
Pretty much.
And Emmett is like,
Pretty much.
head down.
Oh, hon. And then she like takes him by the arm and goes, I'm taking this one. And just walks out. the door.
So as they're walking out, Hannah's walking in.
That boy is
One
lost.
of the.
Oh,
Wait, you weren't there already?
No.
You decided not to.
I did not follow the rest of the group, so I would not have done
But you heard about the violin.
Yes.
I thought you were going to be there for the violin.
Okay, fine. Right.
Were you not going to be there for the violin?
No, we'll find we'll be there for the
If you made the choice not to be there for the violin,
I'm sorry.
I'm going to make sure.
But I'm finally approaching as the night is
I was like,
ending,
you
so,
missed
these-
my beautiful Chicago.
No, I like approaching as the night
As
is
you
ending.
walk out the door, there is a wall of a human, a wall of a man at the door that you're gonna have to navigate with
I've still got Perry's books with me also.
with your new acquisition in tow. And it's a pretty solid block of beef, human meat, and you realize that it's the oldest one who was flushed, and he's like, Emmett, where are you off to? And you hear
Oh my god.
Hi.
He's broken.
Puts her arm out, like sort of like
Yeah, just yeah.
Bill.
And
Nice to meet you.
he says, Monty, Chroma, glad to meet
Hello,
you.
Monty. I was just talking to your brother here, and the party's winding down on this side of the street, and he said he wasn't ready to go home yet, so I thought I would look after him and make sure that he was okay
He's
over
laughing from the other side of the room.
over in this other establishment, which is equally as reputable as this one.
That sounds.
No, Philippa
You
left.
see Monty's
Are
brain
we here?
clicking over the various.
I mean, it's Bill.
It's at the
She's-
door.
You hear everything she says.
Monty's
always,
doing the math on this.
Yeah.
And after the handshake,
which is a very
and like as the handshake and as you're
eye contact.
you it's like apparently the equation comes to a sum, and a firm hand hits your shoulder,
Mhm.
and he goes, I think you could do much worse. Pat, pat. And then walks inside. And then Emmett's like, oh, what, you?
Mama, like those are my shut up, Hannah. I have
miss
to
you,
bond
Chan,
with
son.
some young man. My own doesn't want me. So,
How's your blood pull?
I mean, it's been 7 months, and so I would be down 2 for waking up that day, but otherwise I would
Okay.
be full. I imagine,
All right. Okay.
since
all
we
right.
haven't done anything.
No, yeah, nothing strenuous, yeah. Yeah, if you wander off with this young Chroma, sorry, if you move with purpose with this young Chroma, it becomes apparent very quickly that he does not know what to do with another human in an intimate situation, and that he is still mortal.
Oh.
And so that's why the drinking, and that's why the hemming and hawing earlier, and that's why the incredible flush. Young man's 18th,
Oh, it's his birthday.
If you wish to plot that course,
Oh,
it is a,
wait, it's your birthday?
not quite, but this is the first opportunity they've had since his birthday.
Hi.
And it was going to be their gift, the brother's gift to him for whatever he wanted that evening. They would cover.
Well, I like it. Monty, you could do worse.
Monty obviously thought you were the one that was going to
Yeah.
break him.
I mean, I
She
could,
could.
but I'm not. I'm going to take over my favorite lady.
Yeah.
The one that's clean.
Yeah,
Or, a
the
couple
nice
of them.
one.
Yeah.
One that sits
No,
on the
the,
table.
the nice chubby one that sits on my lap. I wrote her name down at some point, and I don't remember what it was.
Oh yeah, no, I remember that.
Yeah.
She's that's Delia.
Delia. Yeah.
Oh, Delia is a sweet one. She's kind of loud, but she's a sweet one. So yeah, if that is a cobbled familiar road, you take him down. All right.
In more ways than one.
Okay then. Fantastic. Cool. Yeah. You see the gentleman come back. The older gentleman come back in right after Billy leaves, and talks to the other one there, and you see some nods of agreement and another one of these, I guess, and the larger one leaves out, and the other one, you see the marm, the madame come over and confer with him, and he says, you know, he's gonna stick out here, you know, probably all day, and might pass out. And she's like, okay, if you do, you know, up against this wall, please, and that's kind of where that happens. He's like, appreciate it, you know. That's
So the not the oldest brother, but the other one who was
the
there,
middle of these three.
assuming that he's saying that he's gonna stay here all day, assuming that he's also mortal.
No.
Or, okay.
He's just this is where he will likely sleep through the day here. So that suggests no.
I talked to him at some point or another while they're like, and she runs off with his brother.
All right,
and
hold on to that because this happens.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
That's probably gonna
so
be after.
okay.
Hannah's been there. Yeah, Hannah's been like kind of watching everything play out, and before you have a chance, before anyone has a chance, except for Bill, because Bill is Bill. So before anyone has a chance to like properly run off,
There's no shame in that.
yeah, Hannah has throughout the evening made her way to each individual party, been like, we're having a chat, a drink, and then casually just to sort of be like, by the way, this is something that I have found out about the Chromas. So she does mention to you that they are Bible Christian folk. So
Okay.
that would be, before you get to this point in the evening, that would be something that she would have told you.
Okay.
So she tells you, she's like, oh, these are my friends, I'm just chatting with you, and then she'll just sort of like lean in and be like, bye. While you're having a
about this.
break of some sort. Yes. So
Okay.
you guys would all have that knowledge before the evening. So, like I said, except for Bill.
I mean, Bill.
Bill,
figured it out
yeah,
himself.
Bill figured it out. Yeah.
He's kind of like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
I think Hannah, when you tell Frankie, like, he's like, is that weird? I mean,
I think it's strange, but I don't know.
I would have thought that, you know, those holy book people would have been like, you know, the evil demon people or something.
Same. This is very unusual for me.
Even outside Calvinists.
Usually, whenever we talk about
Yeah.
honestly,
Yeah.
where is you're from?
Like they're Protestant.
England, correct? Yeah. Okay. So it's like at the very least, back in Russia, it's the intersection of the church and the camera's not really.
No, it is.
Okay.
The Anarch Revolt was
If there's
very
Sabat,
recently.
there has to be Kindred.
That was when
Yeah.
they were pushed out.
Okay.
And yeah, so it's a
right.
yeah.
The intersection between the church and the camera is not exactly unknown or very unusual. It's just slightly strange that people who are so
proclaim to be devout.
so tied to the scriptures would continue to do so, considering our
Really,
circumstances.
It's not just
In my-
the scriptures, they actually go to church. Don't you think that's a bit odd? I mean, not for the human ones.
have we actually seen them go to church?
They profess to. So.
And they well, if you profess to keeping Sabbath, you know, Hannah's going to infer that you go to a church, and that at least the humans would go to church.
In my experience, you know, turning changes you. People find all sorts of things to cling to,
There are people,
even if it doesn't make much sense.
you should know yourself that there are many of us who are not as comfortable with this, our monstrous. for newly acquired, for those who have newly acquired the blood, it is a hard thing to comprehend. You must find things to root yourself to.
If you want to hear about how silly that is, up north with some of our vampire crews, people kept rosaries in their pockets
Kind of makes sort of a distasteful face.
because superstition says that if you stop practicing for 7 years, you'll be made into a werewolf. And they didn't want both.
No, that's so, that was awesome.
I have heard many things, but that is truly absurd.
Well, I didn't make it.
I didn't come up with it.
I'm just
I ain't no rosary in my pocket, and I ain't got no hurt.
Okay, so that is the general knowledge that you have at the end of April before you get your book.
Surprisingly, my sire also kept a rosary himself. However, his was made of human bone and had an eyeball in the middle of it. So that's nice.
My sire kept one as well, but then she strangled people with it.
I like your story better.
She was a little angry.
weirdly, Philippa is just sort of like wonderful to be able to keep such a human side of themselves. Because
I'll put very rub off on it.
Bringing the Toreador to this.
yeah.
Well, you know, you cling to what you can.
To still be human.
The only thing I was going to say to the guy is,
Bill, make me a humanity check. So your humanity score, roll that many d10s. And your difficulty is 10 minus that many dots.
So 4.
6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
All right.
6.
Nice. Cool. And then make me a wit plus alertness.
Does the awareness involve eavesdropping? Because I gave myself that proficiency.
that's great.
In this case, no.
Either way.
You can hear it. Delia is not quiet.
Yeah!
Dear.
What's the difficulty?
8.
Oh, 1.
Something's not quite right about that boy.
Oh.
But ain't no one can point a finger at what, other than he's a little odd. As far as Delia can tell, there's nothing wrong with him. And she made a thorough inspection. And with your humanity roll, yeah, it doesn't get too weird, it doesn't get too dark. It's just a hell of a night.
Alright.
He will remember it fondly for however long he exists.
Gosh, I wish you know better. What is going to happen now?
All right. Sounds like good stuff, Delia.
No, 100%. I mean,
Strap-ons are extra, but
it's like I imagine what we would use for one.
From class. But
I was gonna say, if you would, well polished.
Yeah, probably.
The varnish.
Varnish.
Yeah.
All hell.
As we learned from Linus.
really?
oh yeah, he wasn't sharing. Still upset about that.
You mean sharing why he knows that?
He found there's a
There's a phallic museum.
yeah.
Oh.
Museum in Iceland.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And he
Yeah,
started
that
by
is
sharing
another
with the
reason why
class.
I
And then it
wanted
was
to
like,
know.
please don't show the 15-year-old girl the penis museum pictures. And he was like, okay. So he turns around and starts looking through. I'm like, but share with me. I want to
wanna
see
these.
Right. And no, he was
No, I
bogarting
saw-
the fucking dicks. And I was upset.
I saw a little
Other reasons to go to Iceland.
blurb
Mhm.
about that,
I didn't
about
know
the
this.
penis museum on an episode of Real Sex.
Nice.
That
back
is
in
a
the
show.
day. Which is how I learned that I'm the same size as a gray whale's penis.
Nice.
I'm like 5 feet long. Yeah.
That's the kind of content you come for.
Yes,
Subscribe.
That is not going to
That's
concentrate
right.
on the
Like and subscribe.
Nice,
Yeah.
close enough.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the new one.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna use that. Don't worry.
Yep.
If it was so wrong, I'm gonna use it now.
Keep coming back every week. You'll find out what size dicks we all look like.
There was something else in there. That was good. And
Or
it's,
the brother who was staying there.
oh yeah. So the rest,
Monkey?
so this conversation
Oh.
sort of.
Does the big brother stay?
No, he took off right
No,
away.
okay.
it's the
He,
big
he
brother.
was
That's
checking on
why-
the middle of the three.
Okay.
Emmett Otter is the one that I have.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Emmett Otter.
He's gonna call him Otter.
Oh.
He's just Otter now.
No, I'm thinking, never mind.
Okay.
Is he skinny?
He's no,
No, okay. But
not. He's thin but not scrawny.
Bill's connecting some dots.
He's not slim. He's just young
Healthy.
and hasn't gotten chunky.
okay, yeah, okay.
If he sticks with whatever he's doing for a few more years, he's gonna fill out real nice. But for now, you're like, damn kid, it's all right. Yeah, so that pretty much finishes up that. Cool. So you're talking to little guy.
Yeah, no, it wasn't even going to be anything serious. It was just that I basically live here,
Sure.
and so I offer him up now that he's obviously friends with Bill because or his
There's a
family's
lot
friends
of
with
them.
Bill.
Uh-huh.
That means they're friends with us.
Uh-huh.
So I offer him a room here on my town.
Weird them to report.
Not my room. My room is special. It's sacred.
You
Yeah.
got your own bed in your room.
Yeah. Daryl stays in there in a box. What? Oh, did that say that? Daryl.
It's a nice bar.
It's a real art
No,
block.
Daryl doesn't live in the box. That's where Bertram lives.
Yes.
Daryl.
Speaking of which, does Bertram make an appearance and all during the evening?
He's
down
around.
there.
He's
I was
present.
saying, Bertram usually is
He
happy to
enjoys
watch
the
me
song.
sing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's just been, surprisingly.
She knows she'll always have an audience of one.
Yeah.
Clap
He's
enthusiastically.
been inoffensive. He's playing very well.
I was gonna say, if I know Bertram's there, I always do like a happy sing-song
Oh
song.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would think over the last 7 months, Bertram, by the way, probably started learning a bit more in terms of words and actually getting some of his since in the short time that we've been around, he's getting enough cognition back to like at least say a few more words.
Well, he was under stress,
That's true.
but now he's no longer under stress, and
Oh,
so
okay.
it seems to have, forgive the term, retarded a bit.
Okay. I see what you're getting at.
So
Flowers for all.
maybe, yeah, maybe.
I just have to bring that
Sad vampire is one thing. We can make jokes, but not the mouse. Yeah, it is an interesting thing to theorize about because it does seem under pressure. He begins to exhibit more personality, unless you've been specifically working on him to try and develop him.
No, I don't think so because I'm
Yeah.
more like deep into my own stuff. Also, Daryl, at some point or other, I'm pretty sure I Googled him because I've been being a dick to him the entire time. So that's.
Oh well, yeah, no, he's accepted that.
I don't know what kind of changes he's gotten because he's been Google.
He laughs at more of your jokes, and not out of fear. Like a few of them, he'll actually find funny
Does
after a
he?
while.
Does he let me change him in any way?
He protests, but doesn't tattle on you for minor adjustments.
Okay, so I've been with
Because he
Daryl.
knows he can get away with tattling.
With Daryl, I've been using him as a sort of like, okay, I fucked up that whole fixing the arm thing, so I need to get better at this. So I've been kind of using him as a
I carried that arm in sack.
A pin board,
Oh
yeah, I mean, a little bit, Not, it's
a test dummy.
like he's like my anatomy book that I have to open up manually.
Ew.
wow.
So usually after a few days, if you make any permanent changes,
No. I'm like anything that I change.
do the thing, put it
small
back,
things,
do the thing, put it back. You've come to an agreement that anytime it hurts a lot, he gets something out of it.
Yeah,
Like,
not
there's-
gonna stop,
yeah,
but
there's-
you get 3 days of do whatever you want.
yeah, and more often than not, there's no need to exchange goods. You were just off your game that night, and this is reaffirming that you haven't had to give him too many nights off.
Yeah.
And he's once or twice mentioned he's once or twice mentioned ideas for you.
Okay, all right. It's interesting having a ghoul that can bounce actual
Exactly.
intelligent ideas.
Yeah. Or at least coherent.
Coherent ideas.
Yeah. And he might have a real knack. Every so often he'll drop one that you're like, oh, that's a good one.
I see.
And you're wondering if it's not that that criminal mind asserting itself for benefit.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, I just offer the brother. It's like you're now a part of this this town, at least for the time being.
Yeah.
And, you're welcome as a guest in my house. So it's like, quote, that's like I kind of gesture probably to the ire of the madam.
He thanks for the hospitality. He's about to be like, no, I want to make sure that my brother knows where to find me. And the lady of the house actually does come over when she sees him talking to him because she is concerned. And once this sort of sets itself up, she's like, oh, honey, don't worry. We remember your brother. As soon as he comes in, we'll send him right to you. We'll come get you. You know, if you need. He's like, okay, all right, thank you. No, I appreciate that. That's fine. Great. So you don't know. And so, yeah, he takes the room and he knows, he's comfy knowing that the proprietress has established that as soon as the brother comes back, they'll grab him for him and they'll be there. They'll be a different man.
Stradolling like, yeah.
Yeah, he'll settle in like John Wayne because he won't be able to walk a straight line.
I get the A team. I always get the A team in the next.
So, so that night ends. You guys go back to your havens, sleep, or pass out, what have you. The next day, we'll power blood pool.
Okay, you really want me to. Okay, fine.
And Miss Allen,
Yes.
you wake up to Theo.
You wait.
Does he knock, or does he share quarters with you? Or?
Since enough time has passed, we share quarters. He has like a cot or whatever he's comfortable with.
When you awaken, you see him wringing his hands.
Yes.
He is in distress.
It.
Miss Allen,
Yeah.
it's your friend, it's your compatriot Bill's child, Mary.
Yes.
He was sighted riding off into the sunrise.
Oh. Read that book.
She like there's like this really long pause. I'm like, are you sick?
If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe it either. But
Has anyone uncovered anything? Is there anything left? The horse?
I'm not sure whether to go off for the horse or what have you. So I just thought it was best to let you know is
She's like,
you weren't, I didn't know whether to.
she like finds the starchiest white collared shirt she can, and is like, and then she's
Forcibly extends her neck.
yeah, like right.
She's got a staple it on.
So like super tightens the corset. She's like,
Bring me the backbone pole.
right. So she immediately goes to Mrs. Sterling first because we're in the same lodging, and knocks. Are you guys?
Yeah, they're at Pam's
They're
place.
bumped up
Yeah.
and
You get to there, but she's gonna go to. We have report.
Yeah.
So I don't if you're not awake yet. Whoever answers the door, but there's a very sharp knock.
Chloe.
Okay, Chloe answers the
Yeah.
door. I look at Chloe and I'm like, I need to speak to her now.
Oh yeah, Chloe's like, oui, madame, oui, oui. Or actually, if it's just you, she's like, yes, miss. Okay, yeah, just a moment. And I'm like, madame. Wait, most importantiste. Sorry, John, but not sorry. I know you. Madame, knock, 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 knock.
You hear the door rip open.
I shall see it.
And just the venom of her voice. What?
The grovel. She never grovels. The grovel.
I cut in before she could even say anything. I'm like, okay, let's down.
Scuttles back while still groveling. Just grabbing his Pretty cool.
And she comes to it. She
Yeah.
comes in and motion.
Yeah,
Jean Pierre closes the curtains or
and
whatever.
you see her looking her most sternest
Oh.
ever. Like the most of stern of
And
stern.
we sit at the table with
Yes.
2 chairs and the pretend teapot.
Yes. And she just sort of looks off in the distance and then looks at you straight in the eyes and says, Harry, we're laughing.
Sunrise.
Sunrise. Sorry, sunrise.
Well,
It's sunset.
and just
Aghast. She says, aghast.
I look at
and very honestly,
Yeah.
like, oh no, and then it has a moment of oh man, no, no, no.
I look at her and I go,
Meanwhile,
Oh,
the next evening,
Jean Pierre, my clothes.
you crawl out from under a bed or a table, whatever it was at the moment. Who knows?
Sun shielding.
And you get that nice creak, and you're like, and you see Emmett, sort of sitting hunched over a table with a large cup of coffee, and he looks haggard. But him and like 2 or 3 other employees quietly going about their business, propping people up quietly, moving people around. 1 or 2 old hands are in there having their breakfast beer, or their dinner beer as things are about to start getting taken off again. And you see the prince and the oldest brother, the oldest Chroma, and one of the actually no, you see Hubert, the prince, and the youngest girl come into the establishment, and you see Hubert glance around and step and look over at the prince and redirect to see the youngest girl outside, and then comes back in while the prince walks up to you and is like, sort of squats down next to you on the ground. He goes, Bill?
Yeah.
Willard?
We should have a talk.
Oh no. What did I do? They told me it was okay. The brothers.
And you see Emmett, Paul, and the prince goes, it wasn't that.
Oh.
But let's see if we can come back to that.
Once again, I would like to reiterate. I was told that this was fine.
And you both kind of glance over, and you see Emmett, like the coffee is slightly spilling, and you see Hubert go, fuck was it?
Give that 2 suck.
Hold on.
Boy.
All I can think of right now is the meme of the guy waking up out of a coma and be like, "Oh man, that was a long coma. Man, I really can't wait to hang out with my child that's not on fire."
You hear Hubert say to the young man, and he sort of just nods and goes, "Diamond and fuchsia." And Emma goes, "Yes, Paul." And Hubert goes, "You're going to be back to the training time to do your chores, right?" And he goes, "Yes, Paul." He goes, "All right." Would you mind keeping your? Would you mind? Would you mind keeping Coons at business? Would you mind keeping Coons at some company outside for a bit?
He's talking to, is he looking
No,
at
he's
me?
talking to the son. He's talking to the
Okay.
son, and he goes, "Yes, Pop." And he like sort of takes the
Oh, they
coffee
have
outside,
weird-
They're all named after gems.
and
But like not really though.
so he
They told me
steps
their names
outside,
are Emmett and Monty.
Yeah,
And
they've
so-
got code names.
and so Hubert comes over
I imagine that comes with his glorious white
Better.
flowing hair.
and so Hubert comes over to where the two of you are just sort of, and he's like, "Pardon, family business. Evening, ma'am."
Even I meant no offense because he's walking. They're like,
Oh, you know, because he comes over.
Oh, yeah,
and he's like, for.
I don't know.
and he's like, I'd like to extend my condolences. And the prince goes, "Come on, Bill, let's have a talk."
And this is where two English women first they go,
My friend, couch, quick. So they lead you outside, and you see the young girl and Emmett sitting on the low railing of the porch, and the girl like stands bolt upright, hands folded, like she's in trouble, almost, and the prince looks over at the young girl. Let's see here. Barrett.
Barrett is the young girl?
Barrett is the prince.
Barrett is
Barrett is the prince.
Oh.
Barrett is the prince. He goes, "Ms. Zeta, would you mind telling Bill here what you saw?" And she goes, yes, sir. I was feeding the chickens last night before going to bed, and I saw a young man, yesterday morning, first thing, I saw a young man riding out of town on his horse towards the east, and the sun came up, and then he disappeared off the horse, sort of like when you blow on a dandelion and just the little pieces, and here it goes, well, you can see it a little less, and she's like, "That's what I saw, Paul," and he's like, skip that a little bit, and she goes, "Okay, yeah, he wasn't there anymore. It was just horse, and the sun had come up, and the chickens had pretty much finished, so I went and told Abe that what had happened, and he went out there and checked on the horse, but we all kind of thought that the horse had kind of just been let go at that point, so we didn't bring back the horse, but we felt it was real important to let Mr. Hugsby know. So we let Pa know to tell him, because that's how you do things." I don't know why she has this accent. Heagsby. Mr. Heagsby, yeah, she doesn't have that accent. Let Mr. Heagsby know, because that's how you do things. And Hubert goes, "Very good, Kunzak. You can have a seat, man. Very good, Kunzak. You can have a seat." And so she sits down, and Hingsby stands close, almost as if to reach to support you.
Bill just kind of looks at her. He's like, "Oh, well, I mean, that's really unfortunate, I guess, but I don't know what that's got to do with me."
Hingsby goes, "The only one unaccounted for in the court was young Pericles."
I mean, yeah, he gets moody and he goes off places. I got his book. He said he was coming back for it.
You did?
Yeah, he told me to hold on to it. He said he'll look after it, and then he would come back.
It was his horse.
I mean, you don't know that. I mean, there's lots of horses in town. Like, total.
They all got legs.
like
Oh man, so
entire,
smile.
like you can
so
say
much.
any that like
Yeah.
yeah, but
Hubert goes, well, I think we all have some more chores to do this evening. I'm just sort of like, time to go, ma'am. And like before he even finishes,
You are the rightest of right,
the
fellas.
boy and the girl are just like off bolt. Just this is awkward to start with. No more thanks. The young man is a little slower than the young girl, but still. Yeah, and so Hingsby goes, all right, Bill. If you need anything, let us know.
all right.
Have a good night. And he sort of just walks off.
Well, just stands there. There's a just stands there.
Back to you.
We after she
I'm-
gets ready,
yeah, I'm
we
dressed.
where we go.
We gotta
Where
go.
to- Are
We gotta
you
go
going
find
to
Bill.
tell them, or are you going to go straight to her?
I said we said Chloe to go tell them.
Yeah.
We're gonna go find Bill.
Abe was outside.
It was already up.
Smoking a spice.
Oh, he's up and I'm up.
There go the women.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah,
Hey,
you see
where are we
them.
going?
Oh no, they're hurrying.
I want to go. Can I go?
Philippa hit on a beautiful bit of stationery
It's all super flowy.
and, and
There's
had
like
a
a red tear
and had a black
on there.
and
You get up.
9 yards
You crawl
and sent
downstairs.
over with Chloe to
You
your
see the middle of the three there,
Proper
sort of like
What's that?
just sort of looking at the clock.
Abe will read
The
it.
Meadows are in today.
Abe is reading
Go on,
it,
Edge.
and as he reads, just takes off his
Yeah,
hat.
good night.
And it's pure poetry.
That sounds all right.
Pure fucking
but,
poetry.
we're getting my cousins not back yet.
Which
What? What?
Oh, not very good.
Same gas.
Just fine.
Oh,
Why do I
am I going to be here a couple days?
Downstairs,
No. I don't think. I mean, if so, then
Ow, 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 ow.
she's figuring it out.
So
I just-
he left?
I just have the back closet problem, so I'm
He's not coming
scared of
back.
her again.
So
That's
No, no.
No.
so yeah, he's like, I mean, if he goes for more than a day, then I, you'll outdo me. But I don't know. I don't think so.
okay.
I'm sure he'd be just
Like-
fine. He'll be back. I've been suggesting
Doesn't
talking to
quite
your
get
father, but
But okay.
I'm sure he actually, I don't know why I would have actually said that.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Metagaming there.
Oh my god.
No. He's in good hands with Bill. Bill is, despite her lack of,
You're just a big
lack of, what is the word I'm thinking of?
Gentle.
Poise, yeah. Poise and yeah, I'm really bad at
Gentility.
yeah, gentility. Yeah. She's still remarkably good people.
And he's like, no, yeah, I hope so. Otherwise, Monty and I wouldn't quite have let him go off. But yeah, okay, all right then. Maybe I'll have a refreshment while I'm here. If that's unless you have a.
Oh no, not at all. Please, honor. One might have it. What's your name, Buster?
Oh, apologies. My name's Frankie Crom.
It's to Frankie, it's to Theo's.
These guys are all changelings. That's the problem.
Damn it. Why does this feel like that Zelda game now?
Because it didn't work the first time. No. So yeah, he's like, yeah, Frankie Crom. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. My name is well, you can just call me Fred.
Fred.
Appreciate
it,
You're
Fred.
not important
And I
enough
know
to
he's
give me all of
embracing
the
When you come to America, you lose your outrageous.
Right?
And
No,
embrace
I still have the
mundane.
outrageous. Unfortunately, none of you are all noble enough
Oh,
to
you get off the
Franklin, I do wish to inquire. Your father said that he was you are planning on heading out west. Yes.
Oh yeah, we're gonna head to the coast. We're not sure if we're gonna go to Oregon or Seattle or sorry, to Oregon or to the Oregon territory or the California territory?
Do you have a proper thing? Or
Oh yeah, we're actually part of a large train. It came in yesterday, and so first night we came in, we made sure we made contact, and, you know, and yeah, that's why it's going to take us a little longer to provision. But once we're ready to go, we're taking off.
No, I'm not exactly sure if that's the rest of my compatriots are looking to do, but I am personally interested in heading out that way. So I would like to speak with your father about joining your expedition in a sense. Perhaps with some of my compatriots, but again, that is up to that.
Absolutely. Once my business is done here, I'll definitely mention that to Father and let him know that you'd like to have a discussion with him, and then you guys can work out the particulars. Thank you very much. Yeah.
After that, I think we would probably walk across the street to go find Bill.
Well, you don't know about Bill yet.
No, but I mean, like, that's just what we would do. Because
It's time to go pester you.
it's time to go pester you and try and show you my brand new screaming trumpet. Yeah. Look at my press this other button.
Oh no!
Look at my
Put a
press
second set of chords in it, it does do it.
and I press the other button, he goes,
I want it to laugh-a-phone.
I have a dot in music, so I'm definitely going to be going to someplace.
Yeah, as soon as we get the letter, we'll cross as well.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Making notes for when things happen.
Poor Heracles. We tried to help him best we could, and then we just fucked him up.
Like most parents.
Oh no! No, you feel.
Happy Sunday. So yeah, so as
I mean, just mostly okay.
so as the two ladies, followed by the wilderness people, come barreling towards the jaded current. You see the prince sort of walking off down the street
Do we
towards you.
run into him? Like actually like cross paths?
Maybe. Do you care to intersect or
I mean, yeah.
yeah, he tips his hat and goes, Ms. Allen, Mrs. Sterling.
I'm deeply sorry, but we're in a terrible rush. Is Bill in her normal space?
No, she's standing in the middle of the street.
Is she still standing in the middle of the street?
Oh, yeah.
He slows a clip and slow turns. And he's like,
Oh, the dear. And then
I heard it.
Oh,
Yeah, yes, yeah, no, yeah.
And like
as you-
Philippa goes off, and I was like, did someone tell her like this?
Yeah, first hand.
Somebody else or her?
first hand account.
Yeah, first time it came.
I guess there was a couple of people watching that night. Interesting.
Sure.
No. You guys
Yeah. Philippa runs up and takes her hands into hers and pulls them.
You walk out and you see them holding hands.
Well, Philippa was holding
Yeah.
her hand. Bill
Yeah.
is still staring
Yeah.
straight. in front.
Yeah,
Looks
so-
like Bill is quite taken with this sudden show of affection.
So yes,
And you hear, "Where's my brother?"
With red rimmed
Just
eyes.
quietly,
and
just out loud, as just sort of a, huh.
Yeah. Well, Oh yeah, didn't Hubert just like walk off too?
Yeah, they,
Yeah, no, they all fucked off.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
they were all like, oh,
A
oh.
good few moments before before the
They
prince,
don't
so
usually-
they
they're usually mean to each
Yeah.
other.
they shot off in a different direction entirely.
Lost does that.
So yeah, the prince is like,
Because Carrie went away.
as I told her, if you guys need anything, let me know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
And
This is going away like again.
but yes, lots of and it's Tim just
Entirely
completely all
unresponsive.
fluttery, and then sees
Yeah.
no
So
response,
you see
and does let go,
So you
and
see,
and gives her a
sorry.
Fred come up with one of the chromas that was there that night,
Sorry.
and
just sort of coming up behind, like
totally just
even this.
this is so open.
It's not moving.
Yeah, lifts
going on?
Bill.
Oh, you actually lifted
Yeah,
up?
like by her shoulders, just lift
I look
and
at
in,
I look at Francis and I was
Into
like,
where?
like right into the building. Like
Which
she's
which
just
building?
outside of the jaded.
No, she's in the middle.
Well,
Well, sorry.
I'm
So he would have broken the news to you right in front of the JD.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
Are
assumed.
you standing there? Or are you
No,
standing
no,
in the
I'm
street?
standing exactly where
Yeah,
you
and
are.
I'm
But
just
just in the
Okay,
middle of
yeah,
the street.
lift
So
it,
see
and-
her-
and-
in the street.
I
Okay.
just you were starting you walked out, right?
So,
as they're walking in.
As the two of you go into the current,
Yeah.
there's a brief "Hey!" and then like
I jumped before.
and then, no, just in general.
No, because Bill is here.
Yeah.
Bill's famous, and
And I give a look around, and in all of my
You have like a
and,
dread gaze.
well, I do, but what I specialize in is my chanting voice. Is everyone, if you would be so kind as to give me and my friend here just a moment of privacy.
and everyone's sort of like, okay, weird lady, except for Delia, like a bolt comes
Oh,
over, and she's like, "What's the matter? What's going on? What's wrong? What's the matter?"
Hannah has.
She actually reacts and like kind of slow turns to Julia. I need that book.
Oh,
There.
The book, please.
tears. But she like bolts into
I-
the other room.
as they walk in, I grab
So,
Fred.
so yeah, the rest
Yeah.
of you sort of like,
I have
We're just like, what
grabbed Fred by
feels strange.
and she's because of Blake. She leans over. She's like,
Abe is clearing a space, setting chairs,
Yeah.
putting them
So-
around a table.
So Frankie Chroma is sort of like,
Guess I'm helping.
my brother. My brother.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. It's just sort of like my condolences. Like if it's audible enough. There's a
well, no, there isn't because it's not to Fred.
Like,
But but I look at Fred. I look at Fred. And I was like, you should.
Miss, and he sort of slowly walks back to the hearth, or unless you.
No,
Unless
it
you try
just,
to
it
intercept.
just as he's walking up, if you need to eat, drink on my tab, we have things to take care of.
Thank you again, Fred. And
I'll just like I'm assuming you like sat her down somewhere,
Yeah.
and then I just sort of like sit very primly
Yeah.
at the table.
Abe has arranged.
She's
Yeah.
gone back to not nothing
Yes.
that anybody else says.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I'm not
some
saying
of you
that
notice that there's a bit of an activity going on in this bar.
Yeah.
But the chaos is hard to parse because you're not attuned to it. But a very strong glass of bourbon
Mhm.
ends up in front of Bill
Mhm.
somehow. You're not entirely sure how, but it's there for her. It's the same bottle. It's from the same bottle when you're losing real bad. And yeah, and Delia is the one in charge here now. Like, give a shit who you are, and but not cloying, like just present, comforting, reassuringly voluptuous.
there's the book.
And the book sort of slides cautiously into view on the table.
Bill just kind of takes it.
There's the haggard breathing is uncharacteristic of most people doing that with them. And so, yeah.
She takes the book. She swigs the drink back, and she just stands up and walks out.
To the night, to her room,
Out. Just out. She doesn't say anything.
Delia's like,
She needs time.
I know.
There's to the loss.
A very dear companion of hers.
Wasn't the sad boy?
Oh, that's sad. So sweet.
what book did you give to her? Like, what book did she give to her?
The journal.
Oh, it is the journal,
Yeah.
not the book of poetry.
No.
Okay, just the journal. Okay.
Used such beautiful words.
To understand. We should go have a drink.
Oh,
Yes.
do you need one?
Yeah.
Can I?
Bring the bottle.
More.
Through the tears, he comes back, same bottle, a second one,
Tasha is very,
uncorked.
very quiet.
and
Oddly.
yeah, and yeah, as you step out, you may or may not notice the middle chroma sitting out front of the Gilded Hearth, and sort of leans but doesn't say anything.
She looks at him. Where do you live? It's not helpful.
The rest of the wagon train.
That way?
Yes, ma'am. She stomps off that way. All right.
And I look at the rest. I was like, should we follow? Should we send someone to follow? Like,
Delia has seated herself at the table. And is trying to drink a straight from the bottle. She's like,
She's adopted now.
Bill's usually real resilient. I don't know.
I give kind of a soft whistle.
I think
Calling
we need to
for-
find Hickory.
Hickory? He doesn't like it here. Drink.
And stands and just
I give kind of a soft whistle, calling for Rolf.
the dog?
One of the good boys comes snuffling in.
Yeah.
There's a lot of smells here.
I kind of just lean down and pat him on the head.
I can only imagine what goes for a treat in the house.
It's jerky.
It's just ears.
Very like just all
Yeah.
of it.
It's jerky. It's made of something.
Meat.
And I just say,
it's on a rawhide.
our dear friend, and I say whatever name he calls Bill,
Sure.
is very sad. And she wants to be alone, but we're still worried about her. So if you could follow her, but not get too close. Just keep an eye on her and let me know what happens. Good boy.
And tail wag, and then all business.
Yep.
Slinking out.
Hey, Fred, you want me and the girl to go with backup?
I don't believe Bill wants our membership at the moment.
Oh,
So lots of
I'm
it-
fully aware. We're just good at staying out of sight.
If you have this particular things does not happen very often in my courts back home, but for the times that it does, we have a kind of not ritual, but customary period of mourning that the sire usually undergoes. It seems to me that Bill was not really quite equipped to handle the gravity of the situation at the moment. I feel that she will probably come back to us in time, but we should probably take our space.
Hannah goes,
I have to, but the problem is that most of the time, having another person there only increases the body count.
Yes, I was about to say.
When that bottle arrives
Yeah.
at the table, that's for everybody that's at the table and says, that's how we do it back home. I don't care if you still do that or not. Good you to even do it for the board.
So
Julia's in.
Hannah has stepped out to go with
Follow her to find her.
yeah, Mr. Ling. But does she see a promo?
Yeah, he's still sitting out there, like
She looks
staring
at
off towards Bill went and the dog.
yeah. I look at him. I was like, did you see Bill?
Yes, ma'am. She went off that way towards our wagon train.
Thank you. And I like over there to go with Hickory.
Welcome, ma'am. As
staring at the glass of whiskey. Also, when I say that it increases the body count, that is because most of the sires that I deal with would transform into 12-foot tall inhuman monsters that could rip a human horse or rip a horse in half. So it takes that for what you will.
You don't want to have the best stories.
He
right?
downs that shot as best as he can manage.
As a
what you call it? Yeah.
as a special,
yeah,
you
Julia's
get the
like,
glass too.
I think I was with a man who could do that once.
As a DM, no.
No, Frank, no.
Bitch, he gets a glass too.
Whichever
My chair is empty.
Personality.
fronting.
Yeah, fronting.
Oh yeah, whichever personality was fronting, of course, is doing her own thing.
Yes.
Well, Abe puts his hat back on. My girl is gone, so I'm gonna go make sure this doesn't escalate.
Yes.
If you please.
Bill.
Bill walks out. She's got the book and she's looking for the horse specifically.
So you walk out to the edge of town, and somewhat as advertised, off to the north, just a tick, there is a big fucking wagon train, just all pulled in. It's a small town on its own, hustling and bustling. Chroma, person, chroma, person, chroma. I mean, even if only like half of them are proper vampires, to feed that you need a crew to do it. And there's a lot of referring to each other by familial names by people who aren't one of the chromas.
Okay.
It's interesting. Yeah, everyone's brother, sister, mom, dad, sort of thing, or mother, father, sort of thing. But otherwise not. Just only those little touches you notice are weird, but that's something else. That's for later Bill to deal with.
Future Bill.
Yeah, that's future Bill's problem. Right now, tonight's Bill walks off down the path a little ways, and you're looking. You get out of town a good little ways before you hear a snort, and you actually see a horse sort of come over a little hill, sort of clopping towards you. And yeah, that's his horse, and it sort of recognizes you. You have the you don't have anything that averses animals. You're actually
No.
fairly human.
Yeah, I have a human aura, so
Okay, yeah.
I don't have anything that would make the horse specifically not like me.
You notice it doesn't have a saddle or a bridle or anything. It's completely naked, but does like sort of come over to you and like sort of snuffles, because typically humans need treats like apples and carrots and other fun things as opposed to just prairie grass.
She sees it. She kind of reaches out
puts her hand on its.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's a struggle within the horse as there's that twinge of predator, but also a familiar human. So, but yeah, it relents.
just kind of goes in a slow. And that's when she starts crying.
Blood.
Blood.
Yeah.
Just blood.
Just a good long little while, huh? So, you stalk out
Yeah,
because you're also sort of tracking.
I'm trying to track.
You also see the chroma situation. You do take note of it because that is now a problem. Oh, you know, and you
Are you
might
having fun over
even
there?
you might even see one of them be like,
We should be able to
you know,
see that.
recognize your particular attire.
No, she wasn't behind the boxes.
And are you trying just to be super stealthy, or are you just trying to
Not,
stay
not
out of Bill?
immediately
Okay,
coming out.
or just trying to stay out of Bill's zone.
Yeah, and I'm trying to track to see where she went.
Oh, okay.
Because I poured her a glass of where her seat was in.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. All right. So you have also seen the Chromaville.
Chromaville. Sorry,
Anything like Tromaville?
maybe.
Nobody's head's getting knocked off.
Somebody slipped into gore.
You
It makes that cartoony sound effect.
see young Emmett holding a pail of some sort, or like a pile of pails empty, sort of like moving them from one place to another. And he comes over and he's like, "Mister, I think I saw your friend head off that way."
I'm looking to it.
Thank you, son.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, yeah. I think I saw Bill head off that way.
Thank you, son. Appreciate it.
Sally,
Yes.
in your exploits, do you care if everybody sees you, or are you just trying to stay low key on the people who weren't watching?
I'm genuinely just trying to not be seen.
Okay, no, that's fine. Yeah, as you make your way sort of out there a little bit more, yeah, you manage to scope that she's just standing there with a horse, and there's no movement, there's no activity. It is still the horse.
The dog should have gotten here first, right?
Yeah, but
You may or may not notice the dog, and I don't need to tell the dog
Fred
what's going on because
asked the dog to stay outside.
Oh, you're right.
So
Okay,
the dog is not-
you likewise, who are trying to be discreet, notice this, but are discreet. And I think in Bill's current state, wouldn't notice.
It
Or care
ducks
to,
in the
so it's
corner
fine.
at that point and just doesn't approach any further. Just
I
keep
keep
watching
trying
and
to
see.
hide.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
hide, like magic hide,
Oh,
or
Abe just
hide.
melts him to the side of the building.
We're never gonna find each other. Right?
That's the point.
So,
If
yeah.
I treat you right, you won't let me find you.
Meanwhile, you guys find Paul at a different stable, trying to wrangle a couple of horses who just don't seem inclined anywhere near him. And he's like, "Miss Allen, Miss Sterling, how can I help you?"
She got you guys names.
Yeah, I got around.
She's. I don't know if she's taking it much. She's taking it very well. I don't think she's taking it well at all. She's taking it. Well, she took it somewhere else.
That's the perfectionism.
Like, no, that's wrong.
I'll get Pa. All right, yeah, just a moment. And he moves off into
Today,
one of the buildings.
My eyes are still sticky.
And he comes back over with Hickory in tow. And Hickory comes over and he looks at the two of you and he goes, ladies,
We are consenting.
And as we've all seemed to have, and by all, I mean Bill, myself, and you have pitched in to the well-being of the young man, what is your take?
damn shame.
Jeez.
No.
Sorry that.
Yes. I mean, it is a terrible shame that we have lost him, but he seemed to be most acquiesced in your company. Does this seem like something you would feel he'd do?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
I look at you.
At the yeah, Paul visibly shrinks. Like that's fucking rough.
Yeah.
Like,
I look at Hickory and was like,
Boy was doomed from the start.
so Bill left our company and was heading towards the corner camp.
she didn't think they did it.
I told him.
We. She
had
just left with a
said-
notebook.
Notebook.
A notebook that I gave him. Well, I gave to Bill to give to him.
Just a bit concerned.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen sirens do things of questionable, outrageous.
And so at the point at which none of you are like actively asking questions or providing other info,
Yes.
he goes, mm-hmm, and then turns around and gets on his horse and rides off at a steady pace.
Hmm.
And Paul goes.
I feel like
Paul shakes his head. He's
that
like,
was going to happen sooner or later.
no, Paul. Yeah, Paul just sort of shaking his head. He's like, "My condolences, ladies. I'm sorry you had to see that."
Thank you. Thank you.
What?
And takes Miss Allen's elbow and oh no.
Sorry, I'm just like this in the corner. It's just like she better wear herself out because I'm not dealing with this.
I better hope so. Yeah, obviously Terry thinks that there was quite an outburst. So
Yes.
Paul thinks there was quite an outburst. So
Yeah, that's why it's just like
Too soon.
Oh, no.
Too soon.
I like that. Sorry you had to see this, and she's like, "See what?"
I understand. It's
You have to understand.
you don't understand. You shown this is the most emotion you've shown in months. It's the fucking wrong burgundy. He's like, pull yourself together, Don. I'm trapped in a glass cage of emotion. That's so.
They've
Yes,
extricated that man fully formed from a piece of granite.
When I head out, and I'm like,
I assume that Hickory is off to the Grovers
"Yes,
to find Bill.
yes,"
Um,
and
I don't know where we're going, but I don't want to be here.
okay.
So
So, so you're gonna marathon this bad boy, right? You're gonna you and that horse.
Well,
your Miyazaki momenting.
well, the horse is what triggers the crying because she knows that that's his horse.
Yes.
By the time anybody, like, I mean, obviously, they've seen me because they got there pretty quickly after that.
Okay.
But by the time, like, if Hickory gets out there,
Not yet.
like, at some point, she's just gonna, like, sit down.
So, the horse realizes no treats are coming,
Oh no.
but also has that intelligent creature instinct that another creature is suffering. So still sort of resettles itself to stay present. And you're crying like it hangs its head almost in empathy, and you plop, and through the blood it just sort of like splatters throughout your vision. Just the whole world is has a layer of your vete now, and you open the book, and there's nothing in it.
Oh,
You couldn't put anything in the book. There was nothing.
Not a single word. Nothing.
What are you doing, man?
There's some
Killing us. Killing us.
there's some trailing lines. There's a few random words like the and I and like yeah, you got like the first.
What? Really?
It's snowing on Mount.
And I know it's from Heather's.
It's snowing on.
And I
Mount
was just like, really?
Right? Yeah.
Why did she highlight this one?
There is actually some blood splatters on a few pages, and even a couple attempts to write in it, but it's all just one, maybe two words, like sometimes and it never. It's gross. It's worse. It's
Yep.
worse,
that's worse.
and. Yeah, just there's the legs and the hooves. There's an empty fucking journal. Let's see here. What do you two birds get up to after this? After Hickory goes off?
Like I said, we can go back for Fred.
Yeah, we can go.
How many blood points am I losing?
Let's go for 2. It's not.
It's not like Carrie.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're
That
not
was
making a
one of
river
our
here.
eyes.
You're just letting it happen. Yeah. After a little while, Rolf comes back, and he sort of busts over at you. He's like, she found a horse. She's sitting with the horse. That she was pretty much set there for a while, so I figured I could come tell you before going back.
Okay, good. Well, not good, but she's not in any sort of murderous rampage. Just sad. Yeah.
We're waiting for it.
Rolf, go. Just continue to keep an eye on her. I'm going to go do a few things. And, she seems terribly out of sorts. You know, feel free to offer her.
Yes.
And then he gets up out of I guess he's at the. I was thinking he's still at still at the bar. Or
One or the other.
yeah, the current. He's going to get up and go looking for something. I don't know what that.
Okay. So you all notice Rolf. Well, it's you all notice Rolf the dog sort of unslink out of a little gully that you didn't quite realize was there off the trail, and sort of just out of Bill's view, sort of, so like right around here, a good number of paces away, he sits and waits.
Well, don't say it like that.
Humbered fries dog into this.
Every time.
No.
That's
Let's make it sadder.
It always does.
Yeah.
It's always
And so,
Are you not entertained? This is the content you signed up for.
so are we talking whimpering or just the act?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, there's kind of this like,
You
oh,
hear
that
sobbing.
kind of sad.
Maybe you're sobbing
I
that
felt
isn't
that
your
before.
own, and realize that some of the blood around on the ground isn't just the blobs in your eye. Something right about there, which the horse has inched away from, is also dropping blood on the ground.
That's not weird.
She kind of looks over. Does she see anything?
Just the blood and hear the whimpering. The sniffling, yeah.
Who's there? It's not very descriptive.
It's Tasha.
You can come out.
Kelly. Comes out. Steps out of the shadows. Looks like just ragged.
She's still not really looking active.
Okay.
How long you been sitting there?
Forever. Gets to a kid.
Well, yeah.
Well,
When you were sitting on the horse.
she was standing with the horse.
I was standing with the horse.
Here we go.
Are you, is Dad here?
No.
Are ya?
Uh-oh. Shit's about to get real, folks.
Abe actually doesn't say a word.
Oops.
I mean, Frankie, you also see the dog.
He said that someone went away that you cared about or something. I felt that too, but I don't know how to make it better, so it makes me sadder.
No.
Will you please?
We're kidding.
Oh, not for kid. We would be eating everything she could. Hey. Yeah. Come on. Why are you so bad at this? Seriously, though. This is
How
tough.
are you yelling?
Burning energy. The potential for speed.
So chatty.
I mean, you, Abe also notices the dog. And then, of course, you're like, there she is.
They started chatting.
But you probably don't want me here and I did a bad thing. Oh.
You didn't do a bad thing. Maybe not the right thing, but not a bad thing.
It's not the same thing.
No.
I go away. I'm just sad. And
I don't know why.
how to fix it.
The things in life you can't fix.
Whoa.
Hey, Abe. You hear how long has she been like that? Right next to you.
Not even a doesn't even looks like surprised. It's just like
All right. Sorry, good to see you.
right. We're both having an outburst right now. Together, we're setting each other off. That kid was losing to begin with.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
He's and then after a good beat, after a good long while, you hear I'm gonna be back that way a bit.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I'm the right person to be out there anyways.
After a while, I just like sit too. I'm just kind of sniffing. It's all messy. Everything's messy.
So after a little while, she finally, stops crying, stops sniffling, but is still like, this is a sad time. Wouldn't be quietly sad. You notice Hickory walk in slowly up. And he clicks at the horse to sort of to get the horse towards him.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks over the horse, sort of brushes him off a little bit, and he sort of takes a couple steps back from the horse to see if the horse has an inclination towards staying with you or going with him or what have you. And the horse sort of points its head off into the distance a bit, and Hickory goes, "All right," and he sort of leads the horse, sort of guides it by hand towards the hillock that it came over the first time, and gives it a whack on the haunch, and it sort of gallops off. And he just watches it go off for a bit, and he slowly walks back to you two, and he goes, "Young lady, your dad know you're here? He'd be real worried about you."
Makes face. That's off. So it's trudging back the other way. I mean, an adult has come now, so it's fine.
And he sort of stares at that middle distance where she was sitting, and takes off the hat. He just sort of like ruffles his whiskers a little bit.
I'm sort of very in love with Hickory.
And he puts the hat back on, and he just says, "Bill," and sort of turns to make like he's going to walk back off towards town.
It's like one time, actually.
Ooh, goodness.
You see the hat sort of bob, and he goes, "Might not be the right time, but it's a lovely name."
Thanks.
There you go.
And he,
When,
yeah,
I mean, I probably passed by where you are.
yeah,
Oh,
when Tasha
on her, wherever.
when Tasha passes by,
What's the name?
um,
The farming.
oh, okay. Revisit that one. And he goes,
when Tasha passes by, Abe will go with her. He would just pop out, right? I can walk with her. We'll just say we have a couple of things to do. We'll walk to the bar. Abe will order a bottle of Bill's favorite. And then at the spot where she usually sits, we'll put the bottle down and fetch in his pocket for that carving of the little dog and just put it with the bottle. Is that fine? That's his motivation.
Hickory came out and said 3 things.
Okay.
So, so after the awkward things, he goes, "That's just it."
I still miss him.
And what do you do?
But I like you.
he doesn't turn. He doesn't move. But you can tell that there's a shift. He goes, Paul was an orphan. Found him, left for dead in a wagon that had been attacked. I raised him up, so all he knew was this life. And I gave him a choice. He took it because he didn't know anything else. You can't help what happens to good men sometimes. Good women. We can only hope there's something out there after this. Till then, we do the best we can.
Those nurses. I've seen a lot of people die, you know. Ain't never been my fault before.
Bill, you did your damnedest to keep him from that. We all did. But none of us put him on that horse.
She takes the journal and she just rips the pages out. Yes, that's true. Very good.
He turns around, takes the hat off. So he just waits.
She stands there.
And he goes, good man.
Yeah. She turns around, she looks at him. Remind me to never do that again.
We'll just let him
Puts
die
that hat
next
back
time.
on.
Yeah. Covered in blood all over. She's like,
He hands you a handkerchief.
thanks.
And he goes, and he goes, if I'm anywhere around, I'll try and remind you.
No. It's good. Just let me.
And
Vampires and
Is the dog still there?
you see Rolf there, and it is the most sit. It is it's like it's
She's in like, hey buddy.
and like he was a distance, so you'd have to whistle him over and that sort of thing. So if you're like or whatever, he'll come straight to and then sits right at hand height, ready to let the pets happen.
He's such a good boy.
And actually, yeah, that's what Hickory says. Like, it's a good boy.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. And then she like stops and is like, I have to say thank you.
You see the whisker go up. Maybe. And he sort of turns on that one and sort of moses back into town.
She still takes it. She takes another second and is just like, come on, boy. Let's go back and get a drink.
Even pace the whole time. You stop, he stops. You know, it's very well trained. Like, you know, it's a good way, it's a well trained dog, but this dog is very well trained. Very well tuned.
I'm glad he said you and didn't come himself. It wouldn't have helped any.
You gotta look like, yeah, I know.
What an act.
You get a look that says, yeah, he knows.
Yeah.
What a friend.
Brad doesn't make himself see the rest of the night.
So I guess that wasn't it. Cool. So over the next couple nights,
Like, yeah, feels still not
Yeah.
good, but not nearly as bad
Yeah.
as out of control.
Well, you have your drinks ready for you.
Yeah, we
no,
got the ready,
she is drowning herself in
Yeah.
vice currently.
so the boys with the cards who don't know that something happened. Well, sorry. No one approaches you unless you approach them. And if you're like, let's play some fucking cards, the
They're like,
table's
okay.
full ready.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, the table's clear. And Delia is as pushy or as like as soon as there's resistance, there's a bounce. As soon as there's an attraction, there's pull. So it's she's incredibly tuned to making sure. And one of the more receptive moments, she's like, something I need to give you when you're ready. Where
Might as well be now, unless you told me. What is it?
okay. And out of her corset, she slides a really nice deck of cards.
No. Well,
Is it made out of bones?
Wait, yeah. I was gonna say, is it
No,
from him?
well, you don't know. It's just the box, and you're like, these are fucking like these are the times you use in a proper shop.
Primo.
Yeah, this is the kind of place where they make you put your guns and your and wash your hands before you sit down.
Oh, thanks.
I'll tell them.
She raises an eyebrow.
It's not gonna do it. So you pull them open, and there's a note.
Oh, Jesus.
And perception plus actually dex plus subterfuge or manipulation plus subterfuge, whichever you prefer.
I have much more manipulation.
Or streetwise, or whatever you think would work for handling cards. What do you like? I was liking manipulation plus maybe streetwise, or like larceny.
Well, I have a lot of larceny, and I have a lot of manipulation, and I have a lot of subterfuge.
So yeah, give me manipulation plus subterfuge. Do you have specialties?
I don't know that would be my larceny or my manipulation one is being persuasive, so I don't think that.
Doesn't apply.
And my
No.
my subterfuge one wouldn't apply either because it has to do with my ability to see people.
Okay, so yeah, just roll them straight. Difficulty 9.
Do you need that? Do we need to say?
Oh, 1. There is a 9 now, so 1.
This deck is off. Something odd about the deck. Do you fan it to check it?
Yeah,
Do you read the note first, or you just go, or you realize the deck is funny?
I realized the deck is funny, and then
The deck is missing the Jack of Spades. And the note says, keep this one close to your chest, Fred.
No!
Julia fucking slowly steps away to go somewhere else for a minute.
Just kind of sits for a second. It's the cards back in the box.
Yeah, because
That's the box in her vest. It's just like, it's fine.
as is right and proper. A few more nights go by. It comes about that there's been an agreement that the chromas will leave the Monday after the next court. So a week and a few days, just for timing and making sure they're all well provisioned. Next session, we will have a discussion with Hubert himself.
Yep.
And we will jump into some of the other aftermath of the arrival of the chromas. So for now,
We get, like, emotional trauma experience.
you know,
Serious?
I was like, Pip spends a week doing somber songs.
all right. So I was gonna try and only give y'all XP during time skills, but yeah, we went hard this week. So 3 across the board.
For emotional stress.
Yes.
Emotional stress.
3 for emotional distress. All right.
Bastard.
This is like when I gave John a pretend.
Yeah.
No, you
A
kept bringing that
pretend
one
girlfriend.
back, though.
We had a pretend girlfriend and then killed her in front of him, and they kept stabbing it and turning it into one.
Like over and over, man.
Well,
Dresden.
Oh, right.
Oh, that thing.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I guess I had a nice life because it didn't happen in this timeline, so I'll never know.
I think it went off that way
Yeah.
somewhere. All right. Say hug your loved ones, internet.
Oh,